Hello, my lovely friends. I hope you're doing well tonight. We are having a Wednesday. We're having a Wednesday. It's Wednesday, August the 30th. Where did August go? Does anybody know? I don't know. But it's okay. It'll be back next year. Plus, there's one more day. My friends, please clock in for your shift by hitting the like button. If you are worried about the smoke, don't be. I'm just trying to hold this off the screen. Um, Hi, Vicky, Sashina, KH, Mayor, Lisa, Grim is here. You got the internet back at work, so you could tune in. Excellent. Glad to hear it. I know most of you already hit it, but it is one of the best ways that you can help me out. Uh, KLF is here. I was tuned in for quite a bit of that this afternoon. My goodness. What a fucking case. Today, all day, I've been busy on the YouTubes. People will be like, what do you do today? I'm like, fuck, busy day. Real busy day. Woke up late, had to pay a late fee, and that's okay. I used to work at a car dealership, and on Saturday mornings, you had to pay a little late. It was 12 donuts that you had to bring with you. And it was just understood. Like, you just knew it. If you were hungover or fucked up from the Friday night, you just preemptively went to Tim Hortons and got the donuts. And it was acceptable that you were another amount late because they would send you out to get the donuts if you were late on a Saturday morning. That's how it works. Saturdays are all hands on deck at car dealerships. I hope you all know. Um, Literally, it was so funny though because you realize, like, especially if you were the latest person, you come in and you're like, look over and you see like 6 dozen donuts. Ah. But do you know what the beautiful thing about car sales is? Is that eventually, if you sell cars, they don't give a fuck when you arrive. And that was the best part about that job. I'd be like, I'm taking a car, any car, and going for a drive. And they'd be like, yeah, of course. And I'd be like, yes, that's right, of course. It's exactly what I'm doing. I had almost the best mental health at that job. They were like, allow any amount of breaks. But of course, they didn't pay you, right? You only got paid on commission. So when a job doesn't pay you money, you don't owe them a lot, especially when at the end of the month you make them money. And that's how it works at a car dealership. Anyways, I am going ahead and we're going to watch some court tonight. I have some queued up. Look at me prepping. Not really. Also, what else was I going to say? Oh, med check. Take your meds. If you have meds, take them. Clock in for your shift. What did you have for dinner? I haven't had dinner yet. Last night, oh, I would like to report last night, KLF, great friend of the channel, advised me about the amazing life hack of Uncrustables in the bra while watching Law is perfect. And it was perfect. So I'd like to thank her for that. Okay, Lisa's having leftover goulash, which sounds like a punishment from prison, Lisa. Let's be realistic about that. Seriously, leftover goulash? What did you do? Who did you hurt? Are you okay? Sashina's loving the odds in the casino tonight. Oh, that's a great reminder, folks. If you don't like Streamlabs, you notice that the chat is quite busy. It is. We have some habitual gamblers in this chat. Lucky for them, it's free to gamble here. You even get points just by sitting here and watching. So, the key to that, however, is remembering that if you don't want to watch Streamlabs all the time, go ahead and block it and you're done. You don't see it. Also, if you're lurking, go ahead and say hi. We are a pretty friendly crew, like super friendly. These are my friends, my family. Um, there's a few other things I have to talk about, but we'll talk about them later. We're gonna get things going here. KLF, to KH. She told me to. She literally told me to do it. I only did it. Richard, you can unblock Streamlabs, and I bet, here's one thing, Richard. Try this. Try playing right now, and let us that haven't blocked Streamlabs see if you can still play while blocked. Could you do that for me? So do exclamation mark heist all, and we're going to take a peek and see if, or gamble all, whichever one you'd like to prefer. One day, this weekend probably, we're going to go ahead and change up, or do a little video how to, because I don't always know how to. You know, I set these things up. I get, I have ADHD. I get on these little and I'm like, type fast, and then things happen. The Troyalty Podcast is here. Welcome, Troyalty Podcast. I enjoyed hanging out with you. I literally had to stop because I had already put on my makeup and I was almost crying with laughter listening to your co-host try and ask what a mod was. First, so cute, so adorable. I almost died. Gamble didn't work. Let's make sure. It might take a minute for Streamlabs to catch up anyways. She said it would take about half an hour to thaw. I think we gave it about, I'm going to say 10 minutes in the bra. They were perfect. And I'll also say this. Leather and Lashes from Credence and Mikey, who comes by all the time in that chat, was talking about chicken cutlets. We all us ladies know what chicken cutlets are. Chicken cutlets are inserts that you put into your bosoms that look like a fucking raw chicken cutlet. Okay? These acted very much like chicken cutlets because first things first, these are sealed Uncrustables. Also, spoiler alert, we'll be doing another Uncrustables in the bra situation later on tonight when I get hungry. That's going to happen. So, anyway, you can tune in to check that out. But the chicken cutlet that you put in your bra is like usually silicone-y or whatever. And no shame in that game, ladies. No shame in that game. You wouldn't believe what camera angles do for boobs. Okay. Oh, look at what lighting does for them. Jesus Christ. See, just turn a little angle. Bam. I'm such a professional. If you're just joining us, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe before you forget. And then maybe leave. Try back another night. I'm feeling a little rowdy tonight, and I'm not sure if it's great for new people. What a horrible thing to say. I do have 270, Vicky. I have to tell you, I was secretly at home celebrating 269, sort of like thankful that I wasn't going to be gaining any more subscribers because, like, I'm down to about one a day at this point, which is fine. One special person a day is great. But the best lighting for your boobs is none. KH, but I thought you talked about having a thick with 3C's ass. I'd like to know how to handle that. I don't got one. Oh, you can't even see it. I'm not changing the angle. But thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. Again, I value this 250, this 270 way more than I did the last ones. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. Because if you're in here and y'all ain't subscribed, you're hurting me. Okay? That's like a straight shot to the heart. With all your accounts, you have multiples. Okay? I know that. Anyways, listen. Grim, listen. What a great idea. Thank you so much. I need to write that down. Is Jonathan here yet? Jonathan is not here yet. Orlando Chiquita, Donna is here. Yay. Sashina, can you just put in the document Grim Rope Light LED for me if you get a chance? Also, Sashina, tell us what it's like back at school. Sashina is a teacher. She teaches your children in America. Reminder, I'm not in America. Um, that weird Mac guy. I don't have multiples, but I can give them. Erica Thorpe is here. Excellent. I thought I saw you earlier as well. If I haven't said that hi to you guys, I say it now. Also, let's get watching some court. We'll start with that, right? We're going. Want to share in an ADD moment? Didn't remember. Spent some time setting it up. Had literally no clue what we were about to watch. Looked over, was surprised. So, thank you, past KCC. I appreciate your preparation work for this episode that current KCC doesn't have. Courtney's here. Hey, hey, baby, boo boo. Um, Lisa Figueroa, Bradley, Jenna John. How do you say that? Do you want to tell us? You want to type that out? I love knowing how people want their names said. So important to me. Jonathan's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's get started. Mayor's here as well. RLS. Y'all, I see you. I read it all. That's why I look like I'm not paying a fucking attention. I'm reading the chat. I need a bigger TV. Okay. Thank you, Case Sashina. I've added more chat. Boobs. Boob. Tits, I think, are in there. A couple other ones that are fun are in there. Anyways, if you're just getting here, welcome. This is exactly what this is like. We have a lot of fun. We play a lot of different games. It's a bit chaotic, but just ask away, and we're here to help. Let us know what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell us what you wish you had for dinner. We're gonna watch some court. I love court. I have a weird fascination. I think it's because, I feel a little better about my life. You know, you hear these absolute tragic stories every day in court, and part of you goes, "You got it together, girl. That's right. You're good." So, I that's exactly what I think. Anyway, so let's go ahead and watch some of this Bothell Municipal Court. I swear to God. Right now, okay, we're going to take odds if this becomes a translator case or not. You know I didn't do my homework that much, so if it's a fucking translator case, we got to start taking odds on that so I can make some money. Because apparently I pick them like a champ. Ooh. Oh, Steven Tyler's back. Also, Courtney had garden salad with popcorn chicken. That sounds good. Damn, Courtney. I'm having Uncrustables that are thawed in my bra in about an hour and a half. Oh, I do have a new strain of weed, which is probably why I'm a little bit different sounding. Granddaddy Perps. Okay, I can do my hair like that. Should we do hair? We'll do the hairstyle thing. Can't really do it. My hair's too long. Can't really do it. My hair's too long. The mic won't work. They won't sing their song. Steven Tyler looks like she washed her hair today. If you're wondering and confused, hey, buckle up. Here we go, baby.
Good morning, everyone. We're here for the Bothell Municipal Court 9:30 calendar for Thursday, the 2nd of February. I'm Judge Mara Rosano. This calendar is being conducted on Zoom. It is also being live streamed to YouTube in order to accommodate the open courtroom doctrine. Anyone watching on YouTube who wishes to participate in a particular case needs to go to the Bothell Municipal Court website, click on the link to video court, and then click on the link to enter the virtual courtroom. Once there, let the administrator know which case it is you wish to be heard on, and that information will be conveyed to me. The official record of these proceedings will be made and maintained by the Bothell Municipal Court. Anyone making a recording without having obtained prior approval of the court may be subject to legal action, including but not limited to contempt proceedings. With that, I believe we are ready to proceed this morning. Good morning, Council.
Morning, Your Honor. The first matter we can address is Amber Baumgartner, cause number 2A04387170. This is on for an arraignment. Looks like it's one allegation of drug loitering, but this is from an incident date of June 24th of 2022. I did have the opportunity to speak with her. We did go over the maximum penalty for the charge. We also discussed the constitutional rights she has at this stage of the proceeding. She's indicating no additional questions, and so we are prepared to move forward with the arraignment.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Baumgartner.
Morning.
You're here for arraignment, so I need to confirm that Amber Marie Baumgartner is your true name.
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Pimentel just told me she went over quite a bit of information with you, including your constitutional rights. Did you understand all of it?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Pimentel.
I will acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive formal reading, and enter a plea of not guilty on her behalf.
Not guilty plea will enter. Court has previously had an opportunity to review the police reports and did make a finding of probable cause. What is the city's request with regard to release and conditions? You're muted, Ms. Greenwood.
I apologize. Ms. Baumgartner has a fairly significant warrant history, but it's actually, for the bulk of it's, older. It's over about a year old, with the exception of the Bothell warrant, which was from August of last year. Given the nature of the charges and because of the pending motion hearing on this charge, the city is not opposed to releasing Ms. Baumgartner today.
Ms. Pimentel.
There's no objection to standard conditions.
Ms. Baumgartner, I am going to release you on your personal recognizance for a couple of reasons. What the city indicated, and also because I don't see any new criminal law activity. So I'm kind of hoping there's been a change made somewhere. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I will release you on your personal recognizance on the following conditions.
So, just as anybody coming here that doesn't normally watch this court with us, this is Bothell, Washington. I live in Canada, in a different world. We actually have a Canadian case that we're going to talk about tonight, but that's later on. Right. And of course, it's not on video because we don't do video court the same way. However, Bothell is like a super easy town to get out on bail in. I've watched a lot of court. Okay. And other courts are pretty serious about this. Here, they're like, oh, personal recognizance. They give it out like it's fucking Halloween candy, the cheapest one you can get at the fucking drugstore, and it's still available on Halloween night, and you forgot to get candy. Like, that is what they give this shit out like. It's nuts. Anyways, other counties don't do that, but I've also heard that it is a bit of a hoity town. Anyways, let's keep watching. We're going to continue. Please keep in mind, these are older episodes. I went and I picked a little, what I hope will be delicious for us. I don't know. I never know. Also, if you're just getting here, please go ahead and clock in for your shift by hitting the like button. It's a great free way that you can help me out. Prove to YouTube Daddy I am a real person. I don't just steal.
You need to notify the court in person or in writing of any change of address. If you don't get the summons, you end up meeting me this way, which I'm pretty sure is probably not your favorite way to come to court, right?
Yeah.
Make sure we have a good mailing address. Make it to your court dates, which I'm going to give you here in just a moment, and make an appointment with your attorney. Make it to that appointment because they can't help you if you're not talking to them, all right? All right, I think those are all the conditions I'm going to place on you at this time. We'll see you back here for pretrial in person on March 2nd at 2:30 in the afternoon. Will that work?
Yes.
All right, and the trial date will be the week of April 10th, but again, March 2nd at 2:30 in person. See you then. Take care.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute, Ms. Baumgartner. Hold on. Ms. Pimentel, was there a request for court-appointed counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. She's indicating she's not currently employed, although I do believe this is a conflict for my office.
All right. So based on that representation, Ms. Baumgartner, I'm going to make a preliminary finding that you do qualify for court-appointed counsel, and I will appoint Meredith Hutchison to be your attorney. We'll give you her contact.
Okay, going forward, we're just going to say clock in for your shift. Clock in for your shift by hitting that like button, folks. Yes. So perfect. How did it not come to me sooner? Anyways, you guys, I love you all. Seriously, it's so lovely to be here with you in the evenings. I do it all the time. Anyways, literally. Okay. And for some reason, I find court just beautiful to watch, especially when you can dissect it with your friends who also sort of watch a lot of court and understand, because there's little nuances in court. And I think, let's be honest now, I think some of us have watched and been involved in more live Zoom court than a lot of lawyers at this point. Those lawyers be busy billing, okay? They're billing people out. Not pretending, doing law or doing it. They're totally doing it. But we out here watching the real, result of that. Some people here can be absolutely experts on certain judges. There are like little triggers, just a woman, just like a man, just like anybody. They have little tiny on points and off points that you know how to tickle in the right way or poke as an asshole. Hi Beverly, welcome. Anyways, you know what I mean. I think a lot of us, if we added up our hours combined, we got a lot of 10,000 plus hour people that have put in time for YouTube. And it doesn't count, right? It doesn't count in the real world, but it does count in our world. And I appreciate it. And sometimes I wonder to myself, like, is that really when like a small town lawyer becomes like so important? Because it is important, we found, judge to judge. The law is interpreted in its own way in each courtroom and with each argument or allocution that's given. And I think that it is shocking almost if people were to watch what we watch. I know you guys get it, but like when I try and explain to somebody, like I could find them, people that spend more time talking about a trespassing case than they do about a fucking entire murder case. Like it sometimes goes down like that. You all know that. Denali Mike is here. Holly, welcome. William's here. Uh-oh. Don't worry, Holly. This is an educational channel. I need to be educated. And that's what's happening. That weird bad guy's here. Listen, guys, we're gonna continue on watching. I'm gonna let it actually play for a minute. Yeah, just a reminder, I'm definitely not a lawyer.
Contact information. I will need you to complete the affidavit that tells me about your income, your assets, and your expenses for me to make that an official finding, okay? Otherwise, I might have to reverse my decision and charge you attorney's fees, which I'm pretty sure you don't want to have happen. So please get me that affidavit, okay?
Okay.
All right. So now we'll see you on March 2nd.
All right. Thank you.
All right, just let me turn this up. Just stand up.
And next matter to address, Your Honor, is Ms.
These bitches be
Ms.
trying me
Taylor.
today.
This is also on for an arraignment, cause number 3A0189155. This was looks like a direct booking from January 27. One allegation of operating vehicle without ignition interlock, one allegation of driving while license suspended in the third degree. Again, we did go over the maximum penalties for those charges. We also discussed the constitutional right she has at the stage of the proceeding, indicating no additional questions. And so we are prepared to move forward with the arraignment.
All right, Ms. Taylor, good morning.
Good morning.
Is Jennifer D. Taylor your true name?
Yes, it is.
All right. Ms. Pimentel just told me she went over quite a bit of information with you this morning. Did you understand all of it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Including your constitutional rights. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Pimentel.
Your Honor, will acknowledge receipt of the complaints, waive formal reading, and enter pleas if not guilty as to both counts.
Not guilty pleas will enter. Court has previously had an opportunity to review the police reports, did make a finding of probable cause. What is the city's request with regard to release and conditions?
And Your Honor, again, Ms. Taylor has fairly old or older warrant history, but because she does have an outstanding warrant, the city's asking to maintain this nominal amount of bail in the amount of $1,000. Otherwise, standard conditions, Your Honor.
Ms. Pimentel.
Ms. Taylor and I discussed obviously the warrant history and the active warrant. I think she's hoping that the court would give her an opportunity to demonstrate that she can make it to court and that she is trying to change that behavior. She indicates she just got employed about a month ago. So she's been working for about a month. Obviously, she will need to get that warrant taken care of out of Pierce County, especially since this could impact that probation matter. We discussed that as well. So she is requesting that the court release her today with that promise to appear, and does understand that if Your Honor is willing to do that, that it would likely be the only time that she would get that opportunity.
I will indicate my biggest concern here is that it appears she was well aware that she had to appear in court and just did not, and has not since 2021.
I've had
Go ahead.
I've had some medical issues that I was dealing with for a while, and I was in the hospital. I would be
Oh, let's start our excuse counter. So we'll go back a little bit and then we'll keep counting. If you're just getting here, clock for your shift, cock in for your shift, sorry. Cock in for your shift. We're going to count her excuses. We're going back a little bit. Let's get started. Yeah.
And just did not, and has not since 2021.
I've had
Go ahead.
I've had some medical issues that I was dealing with for a while, and I was in the hospital. I would be able to provide proof of those if I needed to. I had endocarditis, MRSA in my blood, and I was sepsis for a while.
Oh shit, I thought I was going to get proven wrong. I really did. I was like, oh shit, listen, maybe I was wrong. And we waited. She's the judge's fucking boss. This is what you have to do in a car deal as well. You can't talk. You got to let that other person spew their shit. This lawyer has paid so much money to become a lawyer than a judge, baby. She can outweigh you, outweight you. Your story better check out. I have not paused this
All right.
video.
It's not clear to me what happened with that felony in King County, if it's just waiting for the prosecutor's office to file in Superior Court, or if that's been resolved. Ms.
That
Pimentel,
was dropped. It was dropped.
Ms. Pimentel, do you have any insight on that?
Which matter are you referring to, Your Honor?
The King County District Court filing for the possession of stolen vehicle.
It doesn't look like that was
Looks like it was
filed.
not
So she
filed.
was booked in and then it looks like,
I don't know if it just means that they have not filed it yet in Superior Court or if that had been resolved. So it sounds like it's just pending a decision by the prosecutor's office.
correct.
I was told that they had 72 hours to file or they had to release me and that they did not file.
Yes, but it doesn't mean they can't file. That just
Oh, okay. Okay.
that statute of limitations that they determined not to do it as an in custody. Ms. Taylor, I'm
Hey,
looking
Daylight.
at
Oh. Daylight's here. Who else was here? Richard Harrison's here. William Hawley. More importantly than William Hawley. Beverly's here. Jay from Michigan. Your Honor, I'm pregnant. I know there's every excuse and more when it comes to these cases. It's hilarious to me. Funny enough, because this court of any, they give out PR bonds and fucking get people out of jail like nobody's business. Bring this in front of a judge on the East Coast? Holy shit. They'd be like, yeah, you're in jail for 90 plus days. Fucking fuck off. Anyways, if you've just got here, please go ahead, clock in for your shift. It's funny, I had to train myself not to say cock, and now I've just decided to say cock. Crystal Fullaway's here. See, I read it. Did I miss it? I'm trying not to miss any. Please, thank you for being here. It's Wednesday. We're having a wonderful day. If you're just getting here, tell me what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had, tell me what you wish you had. And if you wish you had cock, you can go ahead and tell us that too. Because we don't shame anybody around here. Not for anything. That's right, Daylight. Cock in for that shift. Grammy Rita. Oh yeah, you're here. My friend. Katie's here as well. Cock is for okay. Mayor, oh, let's all talk. Mayor had his physical therapy today. Mayor, can you type out one of your exercises? We'll all do it in solidarity with you. Type it out. I hope that helps your physical therapy too. Also, yeah, and we can just do a throwback to yesterday's. We got a case episode where the lady was bathing her cats. Anyways, let's go ahead, start watching this. Finish. Come on. I'm only 11 minutes in. Jesus Christ. You talk so much.
Obviously very concerned about the fact that there's a warrant outstanding, concerned about allegations of additional criminal violations since that warrant issued. I'm just looking here.
Also, go ahead, take your meds. I know y'all here need meds. Come on now. Think about it. If you don't need them, you think about when you need them ready. Aren't her glasses like a security hazard in jail? God. So this is exactly why I couldn't sell cars, because sitting quiet this long, I was just like, oh my God, we gotta talk. And this one car sales guy who took me under his wing, super nice guy. So he made so much money. So much money. He tried to teach me. He's like, you gotta shut the fuck up. I was like, I cannot do that. He's like, I know, I fucking watched you. You need to shut the fuck up. Yeah. I never seen her take
Ms.
this
Taylor,
much
I
time.
will reduce bail, but I'm not going to release you. I'm just looking at your history here, and it just doesn't seem like you make appearing for court a priority. So I will reduce bail down to $500. But if you do post bail, you'll need to notify the court in person or in writing of any change of address. Have no new criminal law violations for which there's probable cause. Make an appointment with your attorney. Make it to that appointment. They can't help you if you're not talking to them. Make it to your court dates, which I'm going to give you in just a moment. You will not drive unless you are properly licensed and insured, and you will not operate any motor vehicle without a functioning ignition interlock device if one is required by Department of Licensing. Okay?
Okay.
With that, we're going to set this matter, because I have set bail, I'm going to set this matter for February 10th at 9:30 in the morning. That means if you're in custody, we'll bring you over. If you're not, you will still need to appear on that date by Zoom. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Your bonding company might tell you you're going to get another date. They are wrong.
Okay.
You need to appear on February 10th at 9:30.
Okay.
And your trial date will be the week of March 13th. Ms. Pimentel, was there a request for court-appointed counsel?
I think given the custody status, yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will, Ms. Taylor, I'm going to go ahead and make a finding that you do qualify for court-appointed counsel, and I will appoint counsel for you. Okay, probably Ms. Pimentel's office.
Thank you.
Okay,
Can she be excused, Your Honor?
yes, you may.
Okay, so Graham asked a great question, and I'll tell you all about it. Hold on one second. Here's the thing. When I sold cars, I started doing so after being asked to. I'd worked at the car dealership for many years as a administrator. A receptionist first, and then a sales administrator. And the way it was explained to me when they were trying to teach me how to sell cars was that you give a number. The number is given already. So the first number of negotiation is already given, and it is on the sticker. Okay, so the sort of the dealership has taken that first hit by offering the first amount, saying this is how much it's worth. And then the next offer needs to come from the client or the person that you've been on selling the car to. And so how it was explained to me is that if you go on a test drive with somebody and they taught me this. They're like, you're going to start the test drive. You're going to drive to this beautiful spot. You're going to get them out of the car. They're going to look at the fucking car, and the lake is going to be behind them. It's gorgeous. Okay. Then you get back in the car in the passenger seat, and they drive around, and you're going to tell them where to go and what to do for the next 20, 30, 40 minutes. They're going to follow each of your commands because they're driving your car. By the time you get back to the dealership, they've done what you've asked them to do 20 or 30 times. And so it's just sort of a beginning of the process to get them to sort of acquiesce to whatever you want them to do. That guy, I literally saw unsell a car to somebody, and then like a totally done deal, unsell that car and then sell a totally different branded car just for fun, which is weird. But he just did it because he knew he could. Bruce Davis is here. KT is here. Anyways, Grim. So I think what the silence part is this. So achingly, during the first silence, because I was an administrator within the dealership, I already knew what the cost of the goods are. Like, I'd already done the accounting part of it, so it was natural for me to normally go to those screens. They don't tell most salespeople what the actual cost into the vehicle is, because you get paid a percentage of the gross profit of the car. And so that means that if people are looking at a car that has a lot of money deep in it, they might not sell it because the gross profit's not very high. And so they don't really tell that information to salespeople. They save that and hold it back. Anyways, so I already knew that system. They can't really hold back the system when you've already had access to it. So I just already knew that innately, and so interpreted that in my sales process. And so when somebody would come up to me and sort of offer what I thought was pretty reasonable, and I I would love to be able to just say to them, yeah, this is what our bottom line is for this car. This is how much we got in it, and this is what we made. That's not an appropriate sales process, or it wasn't at the time that I was selling cars. And so instead, you have to sort of fake this game where you go talk to the manager, and the manager tells you no, and then you go back and you fight and you fight and you fight. In reality, cars aren't owned by the dealership, they're owned by banks. And so the bank comes around every month to check on those cars. Stale inventory is bad to have. It costs more money. The loans cost more the longer you have them. And so when you are noticing at a dealership, oh, they've had this car here for a long time, I guarantee you, you go in there and you lowball them and you just stick it out, you're almost going to sell it. They'll sell it at a loss almost to get it off the lot. And that's basically how used car sales work. But again, you also make a lot of money on those sometimes. The key to a dealership making money off of used cars is having a good buyer who has good connections with wholesalers who can wholesale the cars that you can't sell, and then who can, and you know how much to pay for other cars you can sell. That's basically how you do it. I worked for a dealership that had Audi, Porsche, and Volkswagen, and like I said, I worked there for many years in different positions before I ever sold cars. I was talking to a couple about strollers at the reception desk one day, and I sold them on a stroller because I worked down the street at a stroller place too. And the sales manager comes up to me, he goes, "Hey, I want to buy a stroller." And I was like, "Oh, great. Yeah, I can help you with that." He's like, "I don't have a fucking kid. I don't have anybody to put in a stroller, but I want to buy a stroller because you sold it to me earlier." I was like, "Oh." He's like, "So I want you to come sell cars." I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So I ended up trying selling cars for a while, and it didn't end up working out, but it wasn't the worst uh, lessons that I've learned in the world. Anyways, let's go ahead. The company, to be clear, the company was bought out by a giant company in Canada that owns multiple dealerships originally, and the whole time I worked there, it was owned by a family, and it was a family-owned business, and they ran things very nicely. They treated their employees very well. And when the new company took over, it was perfect timing for me to peace out. When especially, let me just tell you this, when somebody tells you you can't do something, you take that as a sign that you can and motherfucking should do what they told you not to. Okay? So when I complain about conditions, money, whatever, to the new managers, and they tell me to shut up and that I'll never get another job anywhere, it was immediately the exact right time for me to leave. In fact, I gave my 2 weeks notice because I'm a good employee. And they literally paid me to leave because they said I was a bad influence, which we all know is true. Hashtag check out the link tree. Hashtag let's watch court again.
Now, the next matter we have present is Mr. Jackson. That is also on for an arraignment. That's the right number here. And that is cause number 37626. This is actually from an incident date of October 25th of 2021. This is one allegation of theft in the third degree. Again, I had that opportunity to speak with Mr. Jackson in regards to the maximum penalty for the charge. We also discussed the constitutional rights he has at this stage of the proceeding, again, indicating no additional questions. And so we are prepared to move forward with the arraignment.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Is Travis Dwan Jackson your true name?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pimentel just told me that she went over quite a bit of information with you this morning, including your constitutional rights. Did you understand all of it?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Ms. Pimentel.
We'll acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive formal reading, and enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Not guilty plea will enter. Court has previously had an opportunity to review the police reports and did make a finding of probable cause. What is the city's request with regard to release and conditions?
Your Honor, the city's requesting that Mr. Jackson be held on the $3,000 bail that was originally imposed. He has a number of outstanding warrants. It looks like about 4, as well as some fairly significant warrant history over the years. In addition, the city is asking for standard conditions and do not return to Fred Meyer.
Ms. Pimentel.
No
Your Honor,
Fred
again,
Meyer.
no objection to standard conditions, including obviously no contact with Fred Meyer. We did discuss those outstanding warrants that he has obviously indicated to him he'll need to get those taken care of when he is released from custody. He did indicate to me that he has been working, sounds like doing through a temp staffing agency that does concessions and things like that for the stadiums. And his hope is to be able to keep that employment. So he is requesting to be released with the condition that he does get those warrants taken care of. I would note, it sounds like, well, I guess depending on what the court decides, if counsel is appointed, this is also a conflict for my office. So we'll need to.
Okay, we're going to need a little Canada-America lesson for me. At the same time, I'll check the weather. So what's Fred Meyer? We don't have that in Canada. Is it a soda shop? Is it a clothing store? It's a supermarket. Okay. Does it have a drugstore? It's a major grocery chain. Okay. It's a Kroger company store. Okay. Okay, so it's like a big ass grocery store with a pharmacy in it. Okay. 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 I need to acclimate myself. We don't have Kroger either. Let's just also do a little temp check. Y'all know it's now 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That means nothing to me. Literally nothing. 16 degrees. Yeah, it's about that. That's right. It's Walmart light. Interesting. I would maybe equate it to we have something called the Real Canadian Superstore, which I never go to because it is 30 minutes away. I don't even go to Costco because it's 30 minutes away. We don't have Costco within the city limits of the city that I live in, even though it's the capital of the province. They literally don't allow big box stores really in the city. And so, and of course I live in the city. But like duh. No, but who the hell has soda shops anymore, MB? Somebody named Fred Meyer. That's who. If anybody. Fred Meyer would be a soda shop / pharmacy. That's what I believe. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, 16 degrees, 60 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. Also, if anybody is impacted by the storms, please be safe. F in the chat for the hat, please. F in the chat for the hat. F in the chat for the hat.
Appoint conflict attorney.
So again, I'm faced with a situation, Mr. Jackson, of somebody who does not seem to make going to court a priority.
If I could say something, Your Honor. Okay. So this last year has been really hard for me. My living situation, getting to and from using city transit. It's not that I've been purposely just carelessly missing court. It's just that I've been having to try to find stable housing, and I'm working with this temp agency who's trying to get me the Kasota housing, which is downtown Seattle, but there's a waiting list out of this earth because of the COVID conditions and all that stuff. And I promise to make every effort from this day forward to show up. I have a case in Seattle that I'm fighting. It's a bigger case. I'm looking at some time on that. I'm trying to get some inpatient treatment, some different, like, ABHS or something more stricter than a 28-day inpatient treatment. I am an addict. I've been using for about 8 years off and on. So that's been a conflict as well. I'm not here to make excuses because I know you've heard 1,000 of them. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Your Honor, I need help and I want help. I'm trying to get myself off of these streets so I don't continue to make the same mistakes I've been making. I'm 39 years old, a single male, trying to do the best I can to make ends meet and be a productive member of society. And it's just really hard because not having the a legal address to always get the mail on time. And then I get these little warrants, they pop up and they get sent back, of course, like the attorney just told me. So, but I promise from this day.
Did he just say illegal address? What is going on? What did I miss? I've been here the whole time. Why is he talking?
Forward, I will do every effort to get a P.O. box so that I can get general delivery so that I can take care of it and so that this will never happen again.
So my concern is it looks like you told Judge Leon this.
Okay, a legal address makes much more sense. Also, listen to what the judge says here. It sounds like she says, it looks like you trolled Judge Leon. Don't troll a judge. That's some advice. Come and troll here, but don't troll a judge. I know it's not what she said, but you know how my brain works.
And take care of it and so that this will never happen again.
So my concern is it looks like you told Judge Leon the same thing down in Des Moines. You actually had a bed date at that point at Valley General. Is that right?
Yeah, Lisa Leona, I've already done the classes for her though. I've done the DV on the assault. I've done the classes and everything. It's just a fine. I only owe a fine.
It's not likely that Judge Leon is going to set a warrant for you because you owe a fine.
Yeah, if you look all the way through the statute of my case, it was a DV assault 4 and a criminal assault, and I did 6 months, 24 weeks with Tukwila Municipal Court, and I graduated the DV MRT.
Okay.
And then so the fine, the case was only left open for a fine, so I had to pay like $695 or something. So that's why it's open. And then we worked out a deal on my felony matter to go to a 28-day intensive inpatient treatment with Pedro Malacio, who was my attorney on that cause. And I went, but the treatment just wasn't right for me.
Holy shit, Grim, you're right. Dude has done so many crimes. He's his own lawyer. I literally was lulled into this little complacency. I don't know what we'll call it. Mayor, did you just say you just heard about your file has been, they lost their file? Ah, that's so annoying. Also, Shishina, they've banned, are you talking about specifically me or just YouTube and YouTube Daddy in general? Because if I find out that somehow some random fucking school board has decided that my specific fucking YouTube channel is inappropriate, I will maybe make myself an award. Wait, some YouTube's okay and some's not? I don't understand. Also, you're a teacher. Why are you even accessing it via that? Come on now, VPN, babe. Actually, let's just talk about stuff.
It was a 28-day, so I ended up leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
All right. So what I see here is it's not because you owe money. It's because you have new criminal law violations is why she wants to see you. which is also a violation. All right. You were going to enter a residential DOSA, it sounds like. And she was
Lisa Figueroa. When you click on the profile area where you find out that your son is logged in on YouTube, if you scroll very long to the bottom, what you will find is an area that says sign out. Click it. Then click login.
waiting to see what, or you'd indicated you might be, and that she was waiting to see what happened there as well.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
She's not, she just wants to see the outcome of what's going to happen. If there is a sanction, it's not going to be, it wouldn't be like a lot of time. Lisa Leona is not like a bad judge towards me. She's not.
I'll let her know that you feel that way.
I mean, I did everything else.
Mr. Jackson, it might be best to stop talking for a little bit, okay?
This is so funny. Oh my God. Oh, the awkward silence is so palpable.
All right. Mr. Jackson, at this point, I'm going to maintain bail in this case, but I will consider release with some documentation with regard to either employment or treatment being planned, okay? But right now, I'm going to go ahead and maintain the bail in this case, and we'll set it for now. Let me think about that for a minute. I don't like the fact that you have so many warrants out, but I just noticed that you have not had any new criminal law violations since October of 2021. So,
Wow. How does that vouch for somebody that's never had any? It's like, wow, you've gone 6 months, bud. Good job. What's, anyways. Also, who just got here that I was going to say hello to? I'm sorry if I forgot. Oh, Orlando's Chiquita. Donna. Hi, Donna. Okay, so you weathered the storm in Orlando. You only lost power for 8 hours. That's it. Just heavy rains. It didn't hit Orlando. Okay. So glad to hear that. Please stay safe. Let us know if you need anything, if we can help anyway. Mayor is taking off. I see bye mayor, so bye mayor or whoever's by. Also, if you're just getting here, please clock in for your shift. Hit that like button. I super appreciate it. You can't log into Google is the problem, Lisa. So yeah. Oy vey. Part of me is like, make a new account. So much easier. Iowa's going to bed. Oh, you guys, Iowa has a great little critter channel as well. I go to it every day and I like clock in. Mikey's like, I never see any of the animals on the critter channel. I was like, does she just have these all like queued up as like the moments from the critters? Because every time I go there, I see critter, 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 critter. Colin here, definitely not Cromwell. Hello, 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 welcome. Seriously, Iowa, it's so funny. I feel like calling you Lisa. That's what my brain wants to call you. But you know how I've said on the internet, everybody's brain sort of fills in the thing. Back in my day, I feel like an old person when I say that. Back in my day in the internet, we just went into chat rooms and we're literally like, ASL, like, what's your age, sex, location? Tell me all your pertinent details, please. Also, your mother's maiden name would be great. We didn't actually, but we did say ASL. It was very helpful. And here's another pro tip. I always lied. Jonathan, what? You don't hear Colin definitely not Cromwell? I brought him up. I just brought him up. I just brought you up, Colin. And actually last night I think I said congratulations. You want me to bring you up? Send me court to watch. That's how I bring you up. No, sort of. Not really. Part of me is not joking about that at all. Anyways, let's continue watching this gentleman really fend for himself here. He's out there throwing punches as his own lawyer. And of course, he's sinking himself as usual. Yeah, let's continue.
You got to make it to court, right?
I will. I promise.
Kind of feel like you're doing your homework and not turning it in right now. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Make it to court.
I will.
I'll do on your.
Who the fuck has done that? Did their homework but didn't turn it in? I'm sorry. Let me talk to you, okay? I never turned in my homework because I never did it. Once I left the classroom, there was a very low likelihood of me doing any classwork. And this is why I failed high school and had to get my diploma in an alternate manner.
Personal recognizance on the
Thank
following.
you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, Colin, I love
Number
clip
one,
report.
you need to make sure you address all of those outstanding warrants. Okay.
I will. I still got to go to King County, so.
Yep. Are they gonna take you from, because it's on the felony matter?
Yeah, it's old, so I'm just gonna tell them, just give me. I want to just follow Globe resolution and get this behind me, so I can get back out and do the right thing.
I'll talk to you with your attorney there.
Okay.
But are they going to transport you from jail, or are they going to let you? Do you know if Ms. Pimentel? Do you know if they will transport down to King County on this one? Or?
King County will come get me.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to find out at the jail if they've served that warrant.
Thank you.
All right. So that actually, Mr. Jackson, impacts a little bit of what's going to happen here. But so here's the situation. I'm going to release you on the following conditions. Notify the court in person or in writing of any change of address.
Okay.
And that's very important, right? You've figured
Yes,
out you
ma'am.
know when you need to be in court. So make sure we have a good mailing address. Have no new criminal law violations for which there's probable cause. Make an appointment with your attorney. Make it to that appointment. They can't help you if you're not talking to them. And even if you don't know what your court dates are, they do.
They
right?
do. Right.
Yeah. So there's
I'll
your
come down
backup.
I'll come down to the county city building if I have to. I don't care. I'll do it.
All right. Make it to have no contact with the Fred Meyer. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to set your matter for pretrial on. And the question is there any reason you can't make it to the Bothell Municipal Court in person?
If I'm in custody,
That's the only reason?
that would be the only reason. But you
All
guys
right.
will know that, right?
We would know that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to set your pretrial for March 20th. Oh, no, sorry, March 2nd at 2:30 in the afternoon for in-person court at the Bothell Municipal Court. Your trial date will be the week of April 10th. Mr.
Okay.
Jackson, Ms. Greenwood has a standing direction from me that if I release somebody when she's asked for bail, if they don't show up, she's supposed to say to me, I told you so.
Right. But if I don't show up, Miss Greenwood and Your Honor, I'm in custody. Just
Well,
on the
look.
Okay.
Well, look, if you're not in custody, she gets to say that. You
Okay.
can't
Okay.
how I'll feel about that, right?
All right. All right. Thank you.
I want you to prove me right here. All right.
I will.
Appreciate it. You take
right.
care, get those warrants taken care of. All right.
Okay. Right. You guys have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye. Any matters that were not transported or?
We
Mr.
have
Jackson
several
does
matters
seem
to address
nice.
that were not transported. The first is Julian Ellenberg, cause number 2A0616823. This is on for arraignment. Underlying allegation is driving while license suspended in the 3rd degree.
What is the city's position?
Your Honor, Ms. Ellenberg has a couple outstanding warrants also from 2018. It looks like, given the nature of this charge and other than that, she only has this warrant. The city is not opposed to PR.
All right, I will release Miss Ellenberg on her personal recognizance. Actually, I'm not sure it's Miss. I think it might be Mr. Yes, on personal recognizance with an out of custody arraignment date. Sorry.
Next matter to address that is physically present is Mr. Martin. Oop, sorry, I just skipped my page there. That's cause number 3A0166219. We did submit to the court a statement of defendant on plea of guilty as charged to both counts 1 and 2. Mr. Martin and I did go over that document this morning. He's indicating he has no additional questions at this time. And so we are prepared to move forward with the plea. I do believe he's making a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary decision.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Martin.
Good morning.
I do have a document before me entitled Statement of Defendant on Plea of Guilty under your cause number and with your name on it. Does look like you gave Ms. Pimentel permission to electronically sign this document on your behalf. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a chance to read or have read to you this entire document prior to deciding to enter into this plea?
Yeah, my attorney read it to me. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you have a chance to go over it with her in its entirety?
Thoroughly.
Was she able to answer any questions that you had about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions? Very good. Do you have any questions for me about the document?
I don't.
We're going to go through this together, starting on page 1, paragraph 1. Is Chase A. Martin your true name? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay. And are you 24 years old?
Yes.
Is the highest level of education you've completed the 11th grade?
Yes.
Paragraph 4 indicates the crimes that you are charged with that you intend to plead guilty to today are 1 count of assault in the 4th degree and 1 count of attempted theft in the 2nd degree. The elements of those crimes were set forth in the charging documents that you received. Did you go through those elements carefully to make sure that they accurately describe the crimes you intend to plead guilty to?
Yes, ma'am.
Paragraph 5 sets forth the constitutional rights that you give up by pleading guilty. They include the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury in the county where the crime was alleged to have been committed, the right to remain silent before and during trial and to refuse to testify against yourself, the right at trial to hear and question any witnesses who will testify against you. You also have the right at trial to testify and to have witnesses testify for you, and those witnesses could be made to appear at no expense to you. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. It requires that a charge be proven beyond a reasonable doubt before a finding of guilt could enter against you, and you have a right to appeal that finding of guilt after trial. Do you understand that these are your constitutional rights and that by pleading guilty today, you will be giving them up in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Paragraph 6 sets forth the consequences of your plea. Did you go through those carefully?
Thoroughly.
Did you make sure that the prosecutor's recommendation that's written in paragraph 6C accurately reflects what they said they were going to recommend pursuant to the plea agreement?
40 days jail time. Yes, ma'am.
All right. But you understand as the judge, I don't have to follow their recommendation or anyone's recommendation. I could sentence you to anything up to and including the maximum allowed by law, which in this case would be 364 days on each case, a $5,000 fine on each case, and 2 years of probation. And if I did that, that would not be grounds for you to withdraw your guilty plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You also understand if you are not a citizen of the United States, this plea could have immigration consequences.
I am though, so yes, but I understand that. Yes.
I never assume you could be from Canada for all I know.
Yep. Gotta check.
That's right. So
Shit, is he from Canada? I was exceptionally listening. Somebody catch me up. Is he from Canada?
if you are not a citizen of the United States, this plea could have immigration consequences.
I am though, so yes, but I understand that. Yes.
I never assume you could be from Canada for all I know.
Yep. Gotta check.
That's right. So, and with that, then Ms. Pimentel, presumably you did discharge your duties pursuant to Padilla and Sandoval.
I did, Your Honor.
Oh, it definitely looked like Jimmy. That's why I double checked, but no, he's good. We're good. No doubt about it. We're good.
Mr. Martin, has anyone made any threats or promises to get you to plead guilty today other than those contained in the paperwork?
No.
Are you doing so freely and voluntarily?
Yes, of course.
Paragraph 11 is a statement in your own words of what you did that makes you guilty of this offense. It reads as follows. On January 18th of 2023 in the city of Bothell, Washington, I did intentionally touch Ryan Leggett in an offensive and unwanted manner when I was attempting to exit the Home Depot. And also on January 18th of 2023 in the city of Bothell, Washington, I did take a substantial steps towards the commission of theft in the second degree by attempting to take items valued at over $750 from Home Depot without paying for them. Is that a true and accurate statement?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you adopt that statement as your own?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the charge of assault, fourth degree, as charged here in count 1, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And as to count 2, attempted theft in the second degree, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Guilty pleas will enter. I find they are knowingly, voluntarily made, and that there is a
Sorry, isn't that like some of the like saddest crimes to be in jail for? You didn't even make it out of the store. Yeah, I got charged with attempted theft. You didn't even get to enjoy any of the spoils of your labor, and maybe that's a critique of how much foresight or forethought you put into the planning of your endeavor. I'm not encouraging any crime, by the way. Also, Crass has been harassing me about the fact that I think that Home Depot and Walmart are the same thing. No, I don't. What I think is that the two places that we hear charging the most petty crimes or shoplifting charges, to me, because of what I watch, is Walmart and Home Depot. Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong, and I'll tell you where we hang out different. But that's the truth. And I know they're not the same places. What I think is they're both incredibly litigious. I mean, how much money could it cost the lawyer that is on staff at Walmart to be prosecuting and dealing with all of these things over regardless? Anyway, whatever. Don't steal.
Ms. Pimentel.
Your Honor, it is agreed. Obviously, he will be spending a little bit of additional time in custody. So we just ask that the judgment and sentence reflect that he get that evaluation done within a specific time from release, obviously, and also in consideration of his probation appointment. He does have warrants that he needs to get taken care of as well. He's going to start working on that as soon as he's released. I don't think he will be transported on any of those as they're fairly far away, but he understands he will need to get those taken care of.
Mr. Martin, this is your opportunity to tell me anything that you would like me to take into consideration before I pass sentence.
When I talked to my attorney beforehand and she asked what I wanted to do, I was like, well, she'll let me out, I'll come next time I see her, I'll come back. I won't have 7 warrants, I'll have 6 and 5 and so on and so forth. So I just want you to know that it is serious and I am taking it serious. And I know that 7 warrants isn't a joke. So I give you my word that when I get out, I'm going to get on the phone and get those taken care of. And that's about all I can give you is.
Mr. Martin, you are an industrious young man. Do you know what that means?
I do not.
means you work hard. You're a hard worker. The problem is you're working hard at digging yourself a hole, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm looking here and I'm seeing that you've been sitting maybe not before a camera before, because that's relatively new, but you've been sitting here chatting with judges a number of times, right?
For a while, Your Honor. It's
Yeah,
getting old.
I'm sure it is. I'm going to tell you a story because you have to listen, right?
All ears.
I know a gentleman who, not unlike you, had a youth that was challenging, to put it mildly. And he ended up, unlike you, he ended up with federal felony convictions, right? He did his stint, whatever you want to call it. The moral of this story, because I'll cut to the chase, because counsel have heard this one before. He went to school, finished his high school degree, got his degree, went to community college. From there, that led to college. From there, that led to scholarships to go to Notre Dame to get his MBA, where he put all of that energy into getting his MBA, ended up at the top of his class, got the job. I always laugh about it because it was at number 1 Wall Street. He was number 1 and he got to go to number 1. When he was in Notre Dame, it wasn't easy. He would make 1 box of macaroni and cheese last 3 days because he didn't have a whole lot of extra money. All right. He's poor. This guy came from dirt floor poor.
Right.
And he ended up a few years ago, having launched his own business, he got to ring the bell on Wall Street because it was the most promising new business.
Wow.
All right. What I'm saying is he did multi-billion-dollar deals that he was negotiating when he was before his own business, flying around the country, around the world. He would circumnavigate the globe every 2 weeks. Every time he went to the airport, he had to explain his felony convictions. And he still succeeded.
Okay. I'm going to call the bullshit on this one. Why would anybody that's that smart circumnavigate the world twice or once every 2 weeks? Really, really smart people and rich people have private jets. It's just the truth. They value their time more than they value money, which is the accurate alignment of those things in your life. Anyways, regardless, this is an interesting story. Wow. I think it's a little bit fake. I wish she would have just told the real story. I know she had the real story. She deviated immediately when she said, "Oh, the prosecutors have already heard this." She should have just told us the story, because now this isn't the story. This isn't even that good of a story. It's fine, but it's not hitting the notes. Anyways, guys, if you're just getting here, please cock in for your shift. Who would have ever thought it would be hard for me to say cock? Please cock in for your shift by hitting that like button. Let us know where you're here from, what you ate for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell us what you wish you had. It's probably a good time for a med check. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes since we started our stream tonight. About perfect time for I don't know. I wish I had ice cream too, Courtney. Like I said, later on, we're going to have some Uncrustables that'll be thawed in my bra. What a weird advertisement. Just like write that one down. Also, I found I'm packing to move, obviously, and I found my old diary from like the early 2000s. We might read a little bit of that. That'll be fun. you think she got the story from Horatio Alger? I don't know. Um, it's like so an RLS, and I know the questions begin. So this is why people in my life are always like, "You're no fun," and I'm like, "I'm no fun because I require a good backstory." So just like RLS says, are we to assume you got a full ride scholarship? Because we can check the full ride scholarships, like where you got that from, etc. And the same thing goes. Like to me, I'm like, you got to tell this. This is why if you're gonna tell stories on the internet, you got to be prepared for how you tell the stories. Okay. And if you're not prepared for how you tell the story, she was like, I think what happened was she pulled up a story in her mind that she told in legal circles. Maybe in a courtroom. Maybe in a courtroom, but not an online courtroom. And she realized, oh, I can't really tell that story in the online courtroom because people will fucking check it. So she had to change it. I really think that's what happened. And that happens to me sometimes too. I'll be like, start a story and then realize, oh, I cannot tell that story on the internet because I'm not stupid. You don't write down your crimes. You don't talk about them online. That's the way you do it.
Succeeded. It is possible for you to make this change if you want to, is the whole point of that. I can give you a bunch of other examples of people in similar situations to you, leaders in the community, people who have made that change, have taken that energy, that amazing amount of work that you've put into this and just redirected it into something that doesn't put them in contact with law enforcement and judges all the time. That's what I would really like to see for you. In fact, I would like you to tell me when you get to ring the bell on Wall Street.
I know I have
All right.
potential. I know I have potential, Your Honor. I was raised right in a good home. It's just, and I know this is really what I've been waiting for. I've been trying to give myself a reason to get my shit straight, excuse my language, for a long time. So I feel like this is it. Believe it or not, with all those charges, I haven't really spent a lot of time in jail. So this has really been kind of a crucible for me. You know what I mean? But
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that you have made a decision. I love to see, like I said, I know it. I can tell. Just I'm looking at that, what some of the allegations are. You're smart. I can see that. So it's just up to you what you want to do. You can spend your time wearing clothes that somebody else picks out, which is kind of where you're heading, or
Oh my God. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Whatever the tone of voice that she's using and the words that she's just using took me exceedingly right back to high school. We'll have to listen again just because I am a masochist and I'm a little pain slut. So the fact that it hurt me, let's hear it again.
I'm looking at that, what some of the allegations are. You're smart. I can see that. So it's just up to you what you want to do. You can spend your time wearing clothes that somebody else picks out, which is kind of where you're heading, or you can decide you want to do something else.
yeah,
But I really would appreciate it if you do decide to do something else. Just drop me a postcard. It's kind of what makes my day. It's why I actually do this job. All right. Lecture over. Anything else you want me to take into consideration?
no, ma'am. Just that I made trustee, and I've just been working hard, trying to stay positive. Let's hear what you got.
Well, I'm going to follow this recommendation. I think it is appropriate. 364 days in jail, 324 days suspended, 40 days in jail, credit for 15 days served, which means you don't have much longer to do, is my understanding. $5,000 fine. I'm going to suspend the entirety of the fine. I don't want you worrying about that. I'm going to make a finding that you are indigent at this time and waive any non-mandatory costs.
Another just like gift from Bothell, right? This is remember a court. We see judges, even judges we love and admire. Judge Simpson, Judge Middleton, Judge Bryant, all over the East Coast, these judges, they may give a speech as impassioned as this to a person in front of them, but they still are going to impose a hefty fine and pretty much shackle the people that are in front of them to a life of paying that off in a fucked up way. I really admire a court that eliminates fees. It's actually more impressive to me than those that eliminate sentences. To me, I really think that it's almost unconscionable to, and certain courts you realize they don't do it. But other courts you realize you're like, this judge is talking to people about debt, about money they didn't pay. Why? Like what look at the Zoom screen. Look at how many people are on it and add up how much money that costs. Would that pay that debt? The first meeting? Would it pay at the second meeting? How many meetings would it take to pay that debt? Does it make sense to impose weird and uh, archaic uh, issue like money uh, penalties on people and then literally spend tax dollars up the yin yang to collect on it? It doesn't make any sense. It's not a good way of making money. Okay, you want to make money, you start penalizing the fucking good criminals that get caught. Okay, you don't waste your time on people that can't pay you money. Okay, it's just baffling to me. Again, here, let's just point out another, I don't know, we should have a segment. It's like ideas that KCC had that were too forward for the time. So I worked on an anti-money laundering inquiry for over a year, where every single day I watched the entire proceedings and took notes and made presumptions and assumptions and suppositions about what was being presented in front of me. And I would make up those notes and put them together and then send them off to a person. And I became quite familiar with the whole inquiry that was happening within our province. That lasted literally over a year. And at times I would literally be taking notes thinking, they're joking, right? This is what they're talking about, because it was so simple to me, different ways of solving crimes. And I remember putting down things like, so if you put in a special checkbox that's like box 672 and the cost is $472, okay? People that are trying to commit crimes are going to pay that. People that are legitimately doing business with real accountants, they're not going to pay that. They're going to be like, what the fuck is that? And then they're going to call and ask about it. And you'll be like, don't click on it. Just don't click on it. But it's so simple to me. Like, there's very simple ways to catch people. Because when criminals commit crimes, they pay their taxes, they pay their fines, they pay all the fees you want. They have no problem. They'd be like, they want us to pay what? 6, 7, 8. Yeah, fucking pay it. What else do you need? Seriously, it would be a literal like list. I was like, do you literally want to find out who's money laundering, or do you want to pretend to find out who's money laundering? And they're like, oh, no, we're not really interested in like real answers, you know. Uh, allegedly, in my opinion. We have a whole few evenings ahead of us that we're going to talk about civil forfeiture, which is something that is common where I live and in many jurisdictions across the nation and the world, and is actually shocking to most people. So get buckled up for that, because we'll probably spend, I don't know, like a a few series. I've got a few things lined up that we're going to talk about civil forfeiture acts. And again, it's on the law spectrum, but in reality, civil forfeiture is to me, and I'm against it, right? Like I'm absolutely against civil forfeiture. I think it's a workaround the legal system that is in place for a reason. You can get fucked if you want to just take something without proving a crime has been committed. But I should be careful, I guess, because where I live, they have very broad civil forfeiture rules, but somewhat ineffective. I don't think they're listening. They didn't listen when I worked for them. Let's just put it that way. People throwing shade today, I'm throwing shade. When I worked for the fucking Attorney General and the government's office, they didn't listen when I was like, I've got some ideas that could really help you. Since I've like worked in marijuana, banking, car sales, like multiple industries that include money laundering at a huge rate. I'm like probably the only person in the whole hearing that's ever filled out um like CDIC or FDIC forms on a regular basis as a bank teller. Like these people are talking about things like, oh, when we find crime scenes where the money has been strapped with banknotes, we automatically assume that that is clean money. And I literally remember that day and I was like, oh, I went to Amazon and I pulled up the fucking ad where you can buy the straps from the bank that make it look fucking real. And I was like, are you just, you don't want to, you don't want to actually like really look? Because that's just basic shit. Okay. I barely graduated high school. At that time, I was a temp and I included that in my fucking debrief for the day. I was like, they claimed this. And I was like, please note. And that's the beauty of being able to write your own debrief. Because I literally like asterisked it and then I put a little visual of that Amazon ad. Anyways, that's a whole different ballgame we'll talk about. Banks, again, I've worked at banks. I worked at a bank for like 5 years, and I took almost all of the educational like teaching materials that bank offered. I told you guys before. For some reason, that banking online university that they created was just like scratching my itch. And I remember like I was like, they're paying me money. Every time you finish a couple courses, they fucking throw you money. And I was like, oh my God. Why doesn't school do this? Look at me blazing through this curriculum. Just like, I loved it. It was beautiful. And I would get to do it while at work, and they'd thank me and give me little gift cards. They'd be like, you should go to Starbucks. I'd be like, yes, I should. They're like, here's a gift card to do that. I'm like, thank you. Yeah. This is exactly the type of education that I'm looking for. Pay me, plus incentivize me, and reward me, and congratulate me almost all the time. And here's the thing, that bank makes billions of dollars. What they paid me to make me happy was still not even close to what I was worth upon reflection. But having worked within a bank, I can tell you right now, I don't know. For me, it was a perfect environment. Every single day you got to work, you started fresh with the amount of money that you had. You brought in clients, you dealt with transactions. Throughout the day, we would do like a check-in or a balance where I would almost do what I would do at the end of the day, in the middle of the day, and double check. I'd be like, am I going to balance? If I balanced right now, would I balance? And then at the end of the day, you balance. And it's such an immediate repercussion to your job that you have to pay attention. And for me, that was the perfect amount of like requirement. I was like, this is real people's money. I'm going to do a really good job. So failing math, bossing it, being a bank teller, engaged in day-to-day math. It was perplexing. But it was also probably what got me through high school, because regardless of what my teachers were telling me, I had people that were paying me money every week telling me something different. And I just fucking believed them. I was like, yeah, cool, teach. Yes, I'm not going to get a job, knowing I already had a job. And I'm not saying that everybody can do that, but for me, that was absolutely perfect. And for some kids, it was like on the job training. I remember though, I started working at a bank when I was 15 years old on Saturdays, and then all summer long. And then every Saturday, because banks are closed on Sundays usually, and then all summer long. But then by the time I was about 16 and a half, all the managers across the city, and we might have had 20 branches. They knew that they could call me because I knew how to be a teller wherever you are for that bank. And I would always come in and be, perfect. I would do my job. And a lot of us, I'll talk about that in a second. But so I was like I was busy all summer, all holidays, all days that were not school. I was absolutely working at a bank. And sometimes I would get calls from managers like, hey, can you come work? And I'd be like, well, I have to go to school. They'd be like, really? What class do you have? And I'm like, well, I'm failing native art, weirdly enough. It's a weird one that I'm failing. They'd be, this is inappropriate, but there was this native guy that worked there. They're like, we'll put you beside Trav. You can stand beside him and talk to him all day. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good deal. Because to me, I'm making more money that day than I would earn ever in school. And at the last day of school, when all these kids, I guess, were going off, no, it wasn't the Royal Bank of Scotland. I worked at the CIBC in Canada, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. But when I went off, like finished high school, I didn't have any dip. They were like, perfect, you're available, great, you're the head teller. And I was the head teller at the main branch of the bank, ordering and dealing with like over $1 million in cash a day. Easy. And because I've been doing it for 4 years, since 15, I was indoctrinated. I did every single one of I was like literally a little robot. I was a little fucking bank robot. It was incredibly cool to see. And I loved it. I was like it was like my main like day-to-day video game to be like beat my daily score. I would keep track. I'd be like, how many customers can I do in the same time span as everybody else? And then I would want to balance as quick as possible as well. So I have to be accurate and on target and do my shit and handle it all. Like it was, it was literally probably the perfect environment for somebody like me. Just incredibly, immediately consequential to what you do. And that is, for an ADD person, the perfect way to do it. And it's not that it's any different for anybody else. And I think that's the difference. It's not like, because you have ADHD, I have to be on your ass every day. It's because we're a bank and we give no shits about our employees, we're on your ass every single day. And so it wasn't just me, it was everybody else. But being able to boss that process, I got a lot of praise, money, rewards, like it was perfect. It was really great. And that bank is one of the big 5 banks in Canada. They make billions of dollars every single year. They paid me $10 an hour when I started working there, and I worked there on Saturdays, like I said. I've told the story before, but it was complete nepotism, which got me that job. That's actually an after dark story that I'll tell. You can check that out on the link tree above. But regardless of how I got and kept that job, I did boss that job. And I counted many, many millions of dollars by hand, with machines, with other people. And I enjoyed it. I really did. It took me a while. The hardest thing to get was the foreign exchange, because there's basically 4 rates that you have to understand every single day. I was licensed to sell mutual funds in Canada, so that's basically the same as selling mutual funds in the USA. There's a test and all that kind of stuff. So again, another perplexing thing to me. I'm failing math to the nth degree. Like multiple times I failed basic math. And then I go and take this course about selling fucking financial products, and I boss that course. Again, just to me, everything, I was just like, oh, so school's practice, but I ain't good at practice. I'm really just good at like coming up to bat and taking a swing. And I still went to school because I had to, I knew that that was what I had to do. And mostly because my boyfriend at the time was really smart and he went to school all the time. And his parents loved me very much and cared for me and took me on vacation many times and nurtured me from my teenage years on. So I was very, very lucky to have a caring set of parents basically in my teenage years. I think that's what absolutely helped me. But I also worked at the bank, and then what was beautiful is that his parents, like, they were high up in the bank, and so they would have dinner parties, and we would sit and they would bring me down and we would sit and have dinner with them. But I also worked in the fucking bowels of the bank. But I'm talking to the like high ups of the bank, right? And I really was able to impact in a way different change because they didn't know the day-to-day reality of banking, whereas I was able to tell them the truth. Like, no, you got to change this, that, the other. And my boyfriend's dad at the time was smart enough to be like, yeah, well, like he just knew I was being real. I remember this time I was like, there was an issue where like immediate issue where faxes had been going to this like junkyard instead of to the bank. And so all this private data had been leaked. And I was like, yeah, duh. Like, and I explained to him the process of when we send off those documents, and he was just like baffled. We talked about how to fix the problem. And again, luckily at that point, I had a literal an in. And this is why I grew up in such a weird like bubble because I didn't realize I was in this nepotism baby position that I got at 14. And so like change was executed because of me and I did very well in the environment. And then like nowadays with different jobs, like you don't even get that through. Like even when you have real solutions. I remember like I was like literally just make a checkbox and make it cost $500 and whoever clicks that list, just look at them. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, do you know how simple that is? First of all, you're going to collect $500 for each of these people that do it. Criminals are going to pay $500. They do not care. If they're laundering money, $500 sounds like the cost of doing business. It's just an easy way to like flag other things. They're just like, I don't know how we would implement that. I was like, who makes the forms? They're like, well, I don't know. What would you think? How would you think that that would work? I was like, who the fuck makes the? I don't know. It's the government. I thought y'all had it together. Again, when I worked at the fucking another place, and I realized I remember after one single meeting, and I looked around and I was like, oh my god, this is the top. And this other person I was with, they're like, what? I was like, this is as high as it gets. There's nobody above this. They're like, no, this is it. This is executive level. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can understand why we have problems. And again, so we don't wonder why I don't keep jobs, right? Because I just say what I mean.
Fees and assessments. I am going to put you on probation for 24 months. It's going to be active probation, which means you're going to have a probation officer to report to. And you're going to get an alcohol drug evaluation and follow the recommended treatment. The other conditions, the ones that are hopefully very easy to follow, are going to be no new criminal law violations for which there's probable cause. Keep your address up to date with the court. We don't know how to get a hold of you, warrants issue so that we can get a hold of you, right? You don't want to be sitting where you are anymore. You want to be coming to court on your own to show that you can and you will, so that you don't sit waiting like this, right?
Yeah.
Which means make it to future court hearings if there are any. Have no contact with the Home Depot, have no contact with Ryan Leggett, okay?
One quick
So
question
those
when
are
you
my
get a second.
conditions. What was that? Go ahead.
This was a quick question when you're done. Sorry.
Yeah, no, well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you a probation officer, and everybody always says, oh, my probation officer, they're trying to get me in trouble. My probation officers know that if they're referring people to me, I consider it that they aren't getting their job done. All right. Their job is to keep you from talking to me, which means they're supposed to help you in every way they can to succeed. All right. They will never send you to jail. I do. Right.
Okay.
All right. So consider them your best friend. All right. Now you had a question.
Yeah. So I talked to my attorney about the probation situation a little bit, and
Yeah.
she informed me that because of course the drug evaluation, after I get that taken care of, and then say like they take the evaluation and they recommend that I don't need treatment or anything like that, then at that point, then I would notify my probation officer and wouldn't need to check in with them anymore.
if your probation officer, if you're in compliance and they don't see any reason why they need to talk to you, they're going to ask me for permission to move you to monitored, which would be what we'll do. Because if there's nothing that they need to monitor with you other than just keep making sure you're not getting any new criminal law violations, they've got enough other stuff on their plate. All right.
I know that there's two types of probation, one where you're just on probation and you can't be in trouble for that amount of time, and then one where you have to be constantly calling and checking in every couple weeks or every month or so.
So the calling and checking in is what you're on right now. But again, if they tell me we don't have anything to monitor, then I'll move you to the other, which is that you just don't get in trouble. Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Yep, thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Martin. And again, I really do want to get that postcard. Yeah, you don't have to be Wall Street. You can be like the mayor of some town or something like that. All right.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Okay, well, I would like to point out that civil service, including municipal civil service, the people serving as town council and mayors, is critically underserved. So, if you too were like the gentleman before and want to be able to send a judge in your past a postcard, aka a little fuck you, yeah, I made it, you can join city council super easy. Okay? That's like a lot easy to do. Really, depending on where you live. Secondly, again, I just feel like these lofty goals are a little out of touch for like the real person these days. Is like, oh, go become a lawyer that travels the world, circumnavigates the world every 2 weeks, regardless that he has to explain his felonies, or a mayor? Like, okay, how about just like somebody who makes $56K a year? Like, that would be pretty good. And again, neither of these lawyers have said shit.
Other matters. Was that the last transported matter or?
We do have Mr. Sandos coming up next year. It's a post-disposition matter, but it's not an active probation matter.
All right.
So there's no report to review.
While we're waiting, the Anthony Granberry matter, cause number 3A0199977. I did have a chance to review the police reports to make a finding of probable cause. What is the city's request at this time? It looks like they didn't have enough room to transport him.
I'm sorry, I did it again. City's recommending PR for Mr. Granberry.
All right, I assume that would be fine with you, Ms. Pimentel?
Yes, Your
Honor. Grant City's request will release Mr. Granberry on his personal recognizance with an out of custody arraignment date. All right.
And this, Mr. Sandos, this is the last matter that was physically transported, 1A0180295. This is a post-disposition matter. It looks like he was sentenced back in October of 2021. We are here today as it looks like there are several new law violations, be it those look like they are pending. However, for purposes of this hearing, we would be admitting to those, again, for this hearing only. Sounds like Mr. Sandos is motivated to try and move forward and get on board with some treatment. He indicated they did put him on Subutex while he was in custody, but then requested to no longer receive that, as he doesn't want to have to rely on that moving forward. But he is motivated to hopefully try and stay clean, and he's going to try and look for employment as well once he's released from custody.
All right.
No.
Ms. Greenwood.
And Your Honor, looks like Mr. Sandos pled to this back in 2021. There's 3 pending violations at this point. The city's asking for 5 days on each for 15 days.
Mr. Sandos, this is your opportunity to tell me anything that you would like me to take into consideration.
Your Honor, I don't really have too much for you. Sorry.
I hear you. That's all right. Mr. Sandos, I'm gonna give you my 30-second lecture on medically assisted treatment. Entirely up to you. But if it works for you, I think of it as being like insulin for a diabetic. If it means that you're not committing crimes and you can function, keep a job, do all those other things, then I don't see that. I know a lot of people put a stigma on it. They're like one drug for another, and it's really hard. But my thought on it is we all need, people with high blood pressure need high blood pressure medication. If you have an addiction and that drug is helping you address that addiction, if you need it, then don't just say, I don't want another drug. All right. I'm giving you my 30-second lecture on it's not as bad as you think. All right. I know everybody one drug for another, blah, blah. It's not. So, well, it is, but it's one drug that you don't have the cravings for, and it doesn't mean that you're going to go out committing new criminal law violations, right?
I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
All right. But with that, I think this is appropriate, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find willful violations. I'm going to impose the 15 days requested by the city. I'll give you credit for any time served solely on this matter. And is there any reason to keep this case open after this, counsel?
My request was going to be to close, Your Honor. He does have several other matters pending.
So, Mr. Sandos, as much as I'd like to know what happens in your life, which you're free to drop me a postcard or stop by and tell me, I'm not going to leave you on probation for that. Okay?
Thank
So
you.
once you've done your time, the case will be closed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Your Honor, those were all the matters that were physically transported. Again, we do have several others to address.
Thank you at Transport.
Looks like the next matter is Timothy Harper. There's two cause numbers 2A0452-662 and 2A0363-713. Looks like these are both on for arraignment.
Yes, looks like the defendant was not transported. Looks like we had a very full day today. I'm sorry, my computer just slowed way down on me. I see nods, everybody's.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Nope, wrong person. All right, so it looks like he was not available. They didn't have enough room to bring him. Looks like he got booked yesterday on the warrant. What is the city's position?
Your Honor, from my notes, and my jobs is no longer functioning. The city was requesting to maintain bail on both matters.
All right.
Looks like warrant history and some recent ones and a couple on of the Bothell cases as well. There it is.
Ms. Pimentel, any information from you?
Just obviously the underlying nature of these charges, Your Honor.
One is driving while licensed, suspended third degree. Looks like we've released him, or he has bonded out previously and still not appeared. So, so based on the totality of the circumstances, I'm going to maintain bail, and we'll see Mr. Harper when we can get him here.
Your Honor, I know we've addressed Mr. Ivy. He's the next individual to address before. PSO Marshall indicated that he believes he's in some sort of medical isolation unit, which is why he's not available for transport.
All right. City's position with regard to Ronnie Ivy.
City's asking to maintain bail, Your Honor.
We'll maintain bail. We'll see if we can't get him here shortly. Similar.
Yes, a similar situation for Mr. Lindsay. My understanding is, again, that he's in some sort of a medical isolation unit. At least that's what PSO Marshall was told.
All right. City's position then.
City's asking to maintain bail.
All right. Maintain bail. Hopefully Mr. Lindsay will be available for transport shortly. And then Lane Travis.
And we were told that he actually refused to transport. He was initially on the original transport list.
All right. City's position.
And the city's asking to maintain bail for Mr. Travis as well.
All right. We'll give him another opportunity to appear. Oh dear. Okay.
And I think he's being held on that.
I was just gonna say, I see that he has a number of warrants and the felony matters pending, so maintain bail, and Mr. Travis will see him when we can get him to come see us. So I believe that concludes the morning calendar, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, we'll see you all at 1:30.
See you this afternoon. Thank you.
Larry,
Bye-bye.
this is your big moment. If you fucked it up, Larry. Come on, Larry. That was close.
Morning, everyone. We're here for the Bothell Municipal Court 9:30 calendar for Thursday, the 11th of May. I'm Judge Mara Rosano. This calendar is being conducted on Zoom. It is also being live streamed to YouTube in order to accommodate the open courtroom doctrine. Anyone watching on YouTube who wishes to participate in a particular case needs to go to the Bothell Municipal Court website, click on the link to video court, and then click on the link to enter the virtual courtroom. Once there, let the administrator know which case it is you wish to be heard on, and that information will be conveyed to me. The official record of these proceedings will be made and maintained by the Bothell Municipal Court. Anyone making a recording without having obtained prior approval of the court may be subject to legal action, including but not limited to contempt proceedings. With that, I believe we are ready to proceed this morning. Good morning, counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor.
And I see we have Mr. Sacha here.
We do, Your Honor.
This is cause number 3A03892. And the matter is on, it's scheduled today for pretrial, and also receive a motion, looks like a motion to modify the no contact order.
I believe the moving parties are here.
I do see that as well. And I believe, ma'am, is it Heather Sacha, or what is your, I apologize for not remembering your last name.
Heather Saka.
Saka, sorry. Thank you for correcting my pronunciation. So, good morning, Ms. Saka. I did get your written motion. Is there anything else that you would like me to take into consideration with regard to the your motion to, and it, so that I want to make sure that I'm clear. You would like me to modify the no contact order to allow limited contact. Is that correct?
It does sound like the best option would be for me to rescind it at this time, but I could keep the one for Andre because of the, it might be too complicated with all of those things on there, but we will keep the no contact with Andre. But would allow me to be able to have conversations with Isaiah, and he still wouldn't be, but I could try to work with him.
Okay.
And Your Honor, if I may.
Yeah, before I move on, I was going to say, Mr. Lohr.
And for the record, Your Honor, for the Circle of the City, Your Honor, I did have an opportunity to speak with all the parties involved about the no contact order.
There's a big echo for me, and I'm not sure if somebody has YouTube on as well.
I think it's Heather's, but I think it's muted now. And Your Honor, again, we had a long conversation on my drive here also, and when we were waiting with the family, that the best course of action is to accept the, to not object to the continuance to Monday for the family to sort out a placement, a facility for Mr. Sacha. In terms of the no contact order, I did explain to Heather that all the exceptions are very difficult for law enforcement to navigate if it is online, and they may make a mistake and either arrest Mr. Sacha or not do anything if they see a lot of exceptions that they can't decipher. So the best course of action for this case is to terminate the no contact order with Heather and keep the other two, one with Andre, who is living with Heather. So prevents Mrs. Saka from going to the residence, and also to keep the one with Jada Brown until he is either fully medicated or on his way in treatment for them to feel safe to either lift or modify the no contact order at that time. So at this time, in terms of no contact order modification or termination, the city does not object to terminating the one with Heather and leaving the other two.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from anyone else?
I just suggest that the court defer to Ms. Saka's understanding of the dynamics of the relationship. Certainly, this is a situation where I have a dual diagnosis type of scenario that's going to require cooperative efforts by multiple parties in order to reach any kind of positive resolution. And I think rescinding the no contact order is a necessary part of what's going to take to do that.
All right, Mr. McMahon, would you like to identify yourself for the record?
Sure, Mark McMahon, SMH on behalf of Mr. Saka.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. McMahon. And I would have given you an opportunity to speak. I meant if any of the other parties, non-attorneys, wish to speak. It looks
Mr.
like
Feldman,
Mr. Feldman,
you need to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
And Your Honor, Leslie and Jim.
Yeah.
I think what you want to speak to is to the release or continuance of the case and not the no contact order. So you can keep your comments until then. That'd be great.
all right.
We had long conversations prior, so I know what they're going to say.
I know that was advised that's why we were delayed getting started. And so that's fine. And I appreciate that. So with that, I will grant the request from Ms. Heather Saka to lift the no contact order, rescind the no contact order with regard to her. Mr. Saka.
Yes, ma'am.
This means that you can have contact with your mom, but you still are not allowed to have contact with your brother, which means you cannot go to the house.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You understand that?
Right.
Okay. So this hopefully will help in getting things moving forward and getting you the proper medication, et cetera, that is necessary. All right. So with that, and Mr. Saka, okay, you do hear me. Okay. With that, that concludes that matter. Now with regard to the pretrial, Mr. McMahon, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm asking to set over to Monday. It's going to require some coordination to talk about next steps.
All right. Mr. Lohr, what is the city's position with regard to setting this matter over to next Monday?
Yeah, the city joins in that motion, does not object to it. And yeah, it's a little bit of background. Jim and Leslie are in the process or have been doing a lot since the last hearing to try to secure a place for Mrs. Saka to go to upon release. They are close, but unfortunately, Leslie Feldman has a oral surgery today. So they're going as fast as they can within reason. So we're hoping that by Monday, everything will be set up for Mr. Saka's release into a facility. I think now with Heather Saka's no contact order being terminated, she can also help. So there'll be another person while Leslie is recovering from her surgery.
And just to clarify for everyone, if this sounds like this is an agreed, the city would be in agreement once this is set up. So if it happens earlier, I would accept Mr. McMahon, Mr. Lohr, an ex parte order if it is an agreed order between the parties. Because I think we've all discussed that where Mr. Saka is not the best place for him, but there's also concerns for the community. And so that's...
For the community?
Yes, the community. Yes, Mr. Saka.
Like I'm gonna blow shit up or something.
So with that, I will, unless there's something else you want me to know that would be of significance to this particular situation, I'm going to go ahead and rule. So
could we make a comment?
Yes.
One of the things we're looking at is a 90-day treatment facility for Isaiah that would involve drug treatment. It's also dual diagnosis.
Okay.
We'll do our best to try to set something up. It's so hard to find anything now, but we will do our best. We were wondering though, as an incentive, could this affect the charges that Isaiah faces if he were to attend and complete a 90-day drug treatment program?
So the court does not make a determination on charges. That is solely the purview of the prosecutor's office.
Okay.
And so I can't comment on that. I have no idea. This is something that you would have to discuss with Mr. Lohr and or Mr. McMahon. All right.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. We just
That's okay.
don't know what we're doing, actually.
And I understand and appreciate that. That's why if you have questions, I'm free. I am willing to answer them, but sometimes, and actually quite often, it's that the court I can't give legal advice and I can't comment and I don't make those decisions. I make many other decisions.
And Mr. Philbin, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about that. I'm not gonna have any time today, but tomorrow afternoon, if you're available, I could give you a call.
Yes, that would be fine. My wife has a spinal shot tomorrow afternoon. That's at 1:30.
I think so. Yeah.
So maybe later in the afternoon.
I'll try my best.
Okay, thank you.
Also, there's Mr. Lohr, the prosecutor, had said there was two options, and we didn't understand.
So it sounds the two options is if you're, and I'm gonna step in right away because discussion of plea negotiations really is not appropriate before the court until there's a decision. And so if you have a question about what Mr. Lohr indicated, you can feel free to ask him for further clarification or discuss it with an attorney. I'm assuming that what we're talking about is possible something negotiated with Mr. Lohr.
Why are people mad that I'm happy? That's all I'm catching here. Like in this whole call, it seems like
there's no reason to be talking about anything right now. We just need to finish this hearing so we can work on what we're talking about.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Lohr, I'm going to defer to you if you know what the Feldmans are talking about, if this is something that's appropriate before the court.
Yes, I think I know where the question's going, and I will give you a call after court today, Leslie and Jim. And Your Honor, just one more request before this hearing is over, is that I've heard from
No, how about instead of doing what the courts do, we do what I want to do, which is go back and think about what this kid is actually saying, right? He said nothing this entire time. All y'all talked all this shit about him. And the fucking least you could do is listen to him, okay? This is what happens when people that have neurodivergence in their brain do well in life. Your family is so used to you fucking up that they're cool with that. You can fuck up real bad all the time. But you start doing a little bit okay and all of a sudden there's a problem. And it's hard to reconcile people that seem to get in your way. And again, let's listen to this kid again because nobody seems to be listening to him. And I think that he deserves that at the very least. As a kid who luckily avoided the criminal justice system by the grace of a few things. Okay. Because I know, like many of us have said, if I got into this system, do you know how hard it would be for me to get out? To have to fucking pander to this shit? To not call them out on their fucking hypocrisy and just all of it together? It's so punitive.
That's all I'm catching here. Like in this whole call.
Mr. I ask him for further clarification or discuss it with an attorney. I'm assuming that what we're talking about is possible something negotiated with Mr. Lohr.
Why are people mad that I'm happy? That's all I'm catching here. Like in this whole call, it seems like
there's no reason to be talking about anything right now. We just need to finish this hearing so we can work on what we're
Go ahead,
talking about.
F in the chat for happiness. F in the
Lohr,
chat for happiness.
I'm going to defer to you if you know what the Feldmans are talking about, if this is something that's appropriate before the court.
Yes, I think I know where the question's going, and I will give you a call after court today, Leslie and Jim. And Your Honor, just one more request before this hearing is over, is that I've heard from, I believe, Leslie or Jim, that Mr. Saka has not been taking his medication as prescribed per the court's order. It looks like he's agreeing that he's not doing it. So the city is requesting that Your Honor admonish him and to take his medication as prescribed.
Again, here's another rant, maybe a little TMI rant. Do you know how insulting it is? Most especially if you actually are trying to follow doctor's orders and be medically compliant to somebody, and then your family, who has no fucking clue, they really don't. They have absolutely not a single idea of what is actually happening, goes on and says like, oh, you're not compliant, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, or you're just like, it's baffling to me. It's baffling to me. And yet, the face he made, I've made 100 times, because people say, oh, you should be taking your medication better. It's like, oh, again, you think that they just give it out like candy? Like, you don't just get medication when you want. Secondly, you have a choice when you have time with me. You can have some dedicated regular time, or you can have me eat. Like if you want to take me out to dinner, you probably don't want me medicated. You're going to be dealing with an unmedicated me because I'm going to eat. It's like a choice between those things. It's silly. I have to give kudos to my sister, who once I explained that to, she was like, oh, well, I'll stop planning events around food. And I was like, wow, I really appreciate that. That's really kind, because oftentimes people plan things around food and then they bitch at you if you don't eat, or if you eat too much, or what you fucking eat. Super annoying. Anyways, good time for a med check. Thanks for the reminder, Bruce Davis. It is a time for us to all think about, do we take meds? Should we take meds? When do we take them? How do we take them? Do you put them up your butt? If you put them up your butt, can you tell me about that? I'd like to hear what your insertion method is. Again, families tend to mean well, but I think that you need to understand that if somebody is prescribed something and all they're taking is their prescribed medication, and you still just don't like them, you might just not like them. Okay? Like, there's only so much you can do before it's obvious. It's like, oh, we just like, maybe you don't like me. Anyways. T-Rex. That's a true fact I experienced firsthand. Medicated me had half a bowl of tortilla soup and a ginger ale the entire time in Houston. That's true. And that is what a medicated me would do. But then people are like, oh my God, why don't you eat? You sit and talk the whole time, or there's a complaint for every part of it. And again, I've told people straight up, you get to pick what you get. So would you like me to devour the meal that you've created? If you want that, you're going to have to deal with a little bit of bouncy me, a little bit of craziness, a little bit all this, all that. But I will devour the meal in front of me. I'll enjoy it. I'll be super happy about it. And if you're smart and you put my little pills right beside my food, I'll take them right when I start eating, and I'll have just a lovely time. And then by the end of the meal, you'll have this lovely medicated meal. And then if you're smart, you give me a little bit of coffee and like a dessert, and I'm good to go for hours. Okay? But I guess that's like, I don't know, a crazy concoction. I don't drink alcohol usually. I don't do most of those things like that. I don't need to. But if I take medication, I will not eat for like 6-8 hours. And that was handy a little bit, but it's also frustrating, because if you forget about that and then you rebound off of taking your meds, all of a sudden you're like, Oh my God. I just ate the entire box of Uncrustables because Kay taught me how to thaw them in my bra. Anyways, what I'm saying is I feel for this kid. Oftentimes, as a kid or as a youth, I felt very unheard, even though, like, for example, one time I got accused of plagiarism, straight out accused of plagiarism when I didn't. And I was just like, how do you defend that? Like, I just fucking, it was sad. It was like a story about my grandpa dying or something. I was like, wow, you really thought I'm a fucking horrible person and a horrible writer. Like, you think this is so good I stole it? How about a thank you first and then maybe do some research? Anyways, I really want to dig up some of my old report cards to read to y'all because, yeah, they were funny.
Right.
All right, Mr. Saka,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yeah. So
Yeah. Big oofta right there.
yeah, you need to be taking your medication. All right.
Yes, I completely agree with that. I definitely think you were right. And I don't know why exactly. You guys are so adamant on me taking this medication, but
Mr. Saka, I think if you
oh,
take medication, you might understand why we want you to take it. Okay. So I need you to start taking your medication. And as the judge, I'm telling you, it is crucial to how this case is going forward. Okay.
Judge, Isaiah does not have medication. He does not have a prescription to get medication. That's one of the issues. There is no way we can refill it or get it prescribed until he sees someone.
dude, I don't need Medicaid. Can I speak for myself, please?
There's
Like,
just no
you guys
reason
talk
to. It's not
me.
going to change
What do you
anything
mean
for the
there's no
better.
reason to speak for myself, sir?
I was trying to answer that question.
Okay,
because it's not-
answer it then. Why would that not be the case to speak for myself right
Okay,
now?
Mr. Saka, please stop talking.
Please what, dude? I'm speaking in court. I should defend myself. Obviously, none of my family or whoever is caring. So why am I not speaking? Do you guys want to figure stuff out? Speak to me. I'm the person right here. My name is Isaiah Saka, and I am in jail or wherever I am, and I'm speaking on this screen to you guys right now. What is the problem? Talk to me about this.
There's an order in the court. When you guys are talking, you can't talk at the same time. You have to have somebody talk at one time and then you're able to talk when you're
Can I
allowed to
get
talk.
asked? Can I get asked some questions?
So,
Please?
Mr. Saka, one of the
Yes.
things
What is
that
your
you're,
question? You're just telling me to do things and not asking me any questions about anything. And you
Mr.
see that. Yes, I know.
okay, I'm going to talk now. So let me talk.
Okay, I'm listening.
Mr. Saka, your attorney is concerned about preserving your Fifth Amendment rights not to testify against yourself. And so he's concerned about what you might say if you and I were to engage in a question and answer. I understand, but it's his job to protect your rights. And so at this point, I understand your concerns, but we're talking about legal issues. And what I'm going to say is, and it sounds like what the problem is that there is no prescription at the jail for you right now.
That
If
is
there is, you
somebody's-
need to take your medications, but if not, obviously you can't take them because they won't be provided. So at this, I think that concludes this matter, Mr. Saka. I'm going to see you on Monday. Okay, we'll see you Monday.
And I'm sorry to prolong this, but it looks like Heather has the prescription that Mr. Saka is supposed to be taking. And you need to unmute Heather.
Yes, Your Honor, it's he had been given a prescription. He had thrown it away. He has the ability to refill the prescription, but he needed to go through the Providence healthcare system. What I'm wondering, is there anyone that is available to go into the jail to assess him, to give him medications? I had tried to call the jail nurses to send in DCR or different doctors to attend to him so that he could get some medication while he's in there. Is there any way that we can facilitate getting him some medication? That the doctors there, is there a jail, is there doctors that can come in? I have his old paperwork here from when he was released, and because he had a medication for the psychosis and he had a medication to help him sleep. He had 2 different medications that he could have refilled at this walk-in prescription place, but he would need to be out of jail to walk into the emergency room at this walk-in clinic. So if he could get it into the jail somehow, a mental health professional to work with him.
All right,
somehow.
Mr. Lohr, Mr. McMahon, I will task you with attempting to contact the mental health professional at the jail through the county, see if we can't facilitate getting that taken care of. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right,
Sure.
so that should conclude this matter. We'll see you, Mr. Saka. I'll see you Monday morning at 9:30, where hopefully you and I will be able to have a much more meaningful conversation. Okay. All right, we'll see you then. Take care.
Thank you. I love you, Isaiah.
So we can move on to the next matter. Mr. Saka, we've muted your microphone that nobody could hear you. So next case, please.
The next in custody is Ms. Black.
Bro, what is wrong with you? Tell me right now.
I just like to put on the record my idea for a documentary called, what did she just say? Your silence is noted. You've been muted for the record. Where we compile all these poor people that just get ignored.
Nobody could hear you. So we can move on to the next matter. Mr. Saka, we've muted your microphone that nobody could hear you. So next case, please.
We've muted your
The next in
microphone. Nobody
custody
could
is
hear
Ms.
you.
Black.
Next case, please.
Bro, what is wrong with you? Tell me right now.
And Ms. Black, I'm just waiting for it to be a little bit more quiet over there for your sake.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is the matter of Nicole Black, cause number 22000060. The matter was scheduled today for arraignment. Ms. Black, is Nicole Catherine Black your true name?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McMahon.
So Ms. Black, you've been charged by way of criminal complaint with 1 count of possession of stolen property in the 3rd degree. It's a gross misdemeanor. The maximum possible penalty, if you were convicted, is up to 364 days in jail and $5,000 fine. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Did you understand the rights that we went over together?
yes,
And we acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive any further formal reading of the plea of not guilty.
I'm sorry, what?
I said we acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive any further formal reading under a plea of not guilty.
Okay,
Not guilty plea will enter. Court has previously had an opportunity to review the police reports and did make a finding of probable cause. What is the city's position with regard to release and conditions?
Yeah, the city's not asking to hold her any longer on bail at this time. We do notice that she does have quite a bit of FTAs, but only 4 of them within the last 4 years. So she's not making it a habit right now, but we're hoping that she should make that switch and come to court next time. So we're just asking for the standard conditions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. McMahon, any objection?
Given that the city's not asking for bail, we have no argument this time.
All right, thank you. Ms. Black, I am going to release you on your personal recognizance on the following conditions. Notify the court in person or in writing of any change of address. Have no new criminal law violations for which there is probable cause. Make an appointment with your attorney, make it to that appointment. They can't help you if you're not talking to them, right?
right.
make it to your court dates, which I'm going to give you here in just a moment.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I guess there was no request with regard to no contact with anyone.
That's correct. No request for that.
All right. So that's it. That's pretty simple, right?
Right.
All right. I do note, and I would indicate I did see that there was quite the history, but I did note that there hadn't been anything terribly, not a lot of failures to appear recently. And I also note that it's been a little while since you've had any contact with law enforcement, which is a good thing.
Yes, Your Honor. I've been trying to do turn around my life. I really have.
Well, hopefully we can help you continue with that, and this won't be too big a setback. All right?
Okay.
And Your Honor, can we request one more thing?
Yes.
And that she quashed the bench warrant out of King County that's been there for quite a while.
Yes, I'm going there next.
Okay.
So when I'm being released from here, I'm going to King County and I'm quashing the warrants there.
Okay. Mr. Lord, given that Ms. Black is trying to make some changes, I will ask, does the city think she would be a good candidate for community court?
What is community court?
Community court is a program that we offer where you would be working with some counselors and some other individuals with resources to try to help you make those changes. It might be, depending on your circumstances, it might be drug treatment, it might be housing, it might be
Housing,
a job. Yeah, all of those things.
I already graduated treatment and I had a lot of health problems that I went through in the hospital. So
yeah. So it's something to look into, to think about, maybe talk to your attorney about before it gets too far down the road, but it's something to consider. All right.
And you have to answer your question. I'm looking at her 2009 conviction out of King County that caused me a little bit of concern.
what is that? Is that the robbery conviction?
Perhaps we could discuss this off the record at some point.
Yeah, I think that would be
Can
fine.
I speak with my attorney for a moment?
You and
They're gonna,
Ms. Black,
they're gonna let you out of jail soon. Would you like to talk privately instead of?
No, they're not going to let me out of jail. They're going to transfer me to King County.
for the DWLS first.
Yes.
All right.
So how many, what I wanted to ask my attorney is how many FTAs do I have?
So as far as the warrant outstanding, you only have the one out of King County for the DWLS first degree. As far as your history for them, that's, I don't know if we've counted those up. So.
Yeah, 27 lifetime FTAs from 2007. So.
And when I order that immediate rave effect to come, it just fucks up. I just, I don't really plan the episodes properly. This rave would have been good at the beginning when we were all happy for that guy. No, I'm just joking, you guys. This is whatever this fucking camera is doing there. It's crazy. I would like to do a shout out to my new makeup that I used, which seems to be a little bit waterproof. I was crying a little bit. I feel for these kids. I feel for adults. I feel for anybody that thinks that I do this like sometimes it wasn't on my channel, but I saw somebody post about doing it for the money and I was like, okay, well, come on now. Why don't you start a YouTube channel and then make the money and then talk about it? Anyways. I think that mental health treatment is important in many different levels and facets, and I think that it is very disruptive to somebody who might be engaged in an appropriate level of mental health treatment for them to be accused and sort of, reprimanded for not doing what their family purports that they think they should do. Again, I don't know why these standards of evidence don't apply where it's like, oh, are you an expert? You gonna do the HIPAA violation? Why don't you do the fucking proper background on this? Otherwise, why am I taking it into consideration? My dad worked at a kids juvenile detention center. Those kids aren't all bad. Some of them, yeah, there's fucking bad apples, okay? 2 fucking horrible people who had horrible parents and horrible grandparents and horrible great-grandparents. and then they create Voldemort or whatever. That exists. But for the most part, it's like kids that were neglected. That's in reality who's in care and who's in the juvenile justice system, which feeds directly into the adult justice system. So once again, if we want to save money, where do we apply it? We apply it at the beginning of the chain. So we apply it to early childhood education, early intervention for different programs for people. We remove the stigma for people for having children young, for not knowing what they're doing. And we give them wraparound support as opposed to punitive punishments that will end up costing us less hand over fist in the end. Again, people are bending over and picking up pennies while $100 bills fly over their heads, thinking that they're going to save the money. It's not going to happen. And no, the person that's in front of us right now may not, woman probably has children. If she doesn't, the next one will. And when you help that woman's children, instead of ostracize them, instead of put them in perpetual poverty, you will lift the entire nation, the entire group of people in a better manner. And let's recall, when we talk about our favorite courts, we talk about fun places to watch, Judge Kim, other juvenile courts sending kids to facilities, secure facilities, placement, they call it. They have a euphemism for it. Placement. We're going to put you at a placement. Okay. I've looked into those placements. First of all, they're paying $2,000-$3,000 a day for each of those kids in those placements. What would you think would happen to a family if you give them $2,000 or $3,000 a day? What do you think would happen to those children? Do you think they would maintain poverty? No, they fucking wouldn't. But for some reason, you think that's such a joke to support young families. But then later on, when that child inevitably is underfed, underserviced, and underrepresented, you want to jail them and pay $2,000 or $3,000 a day to somebody who doesn't even know what they're doing about it and who has documented those facilities are few and far between because they're full of fucking unqualified people to run them. It's a fucking travesty. Again, early childhood education. I used to run a parenting group, and one of my tenets of that group was to reach a parent before they became a parent. I wanted them as an almost mommy, which is what I called them, to already have a network and a resource to reach out to when they had a problem. Because it's beyond critical to engage that community sense of help. Because as a new parent, and every single person gets in this position where they don't know what they're doing, and there's a lot of books out there, but they don't necessarily address what you're specifically wanting. But when you can go to somebody and ask them a direct question and they can give you a direct answer, it's very, very, very valuable. So again, how does that relate to court today? Well, because that girl's mother probably had a hard time. I don't know, but I'm going to guess that her mom wasn't surrounded by access and opportunity and money and the ability to provide this girl with everything she needed. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But my whole point is it's so much cheaper at the younger age to make an imprint, make an impression, actually make a difference. It costs so much less dollar for dollar at the young age to intercept the family instead of, these young girls that get pregnant. Oh my God, that to me is like a great opportunity. Oh my God, we're going to surround this girl with all this love and support, and fucking, she ain't going to be able to fail. Seriously, think about it. If you put $2,000 a day into a young mother and her child, she couldn't fail. She couldn't. But instead, what they do is they wait for her to fail, and then they give it to a big corporation, and then they put her child in foster care. How does that make sense? Put me in charge. Believe me, we wouldn't handle it. Anyways, I know the average prisoner might be in the USA might be $120.59 per day, Richard. What I'm talking about specifically is specifically in Travis County or in the 323rd District Court of Tarrant County, Texas, so it's Tarrant County. I looked into this. The juvenile rate for placement, which is what they call it, it's euphemistic. There's like 7 facilities that still take kids. They're all located in like Idaho and fucking Montana and weird little places, and they're staffed by in my opinion, allegedly unqualified, immature, inadequate staff. They charge an arm and a leg. They basically restrain these children. There's no treatment. And they charge a fucking arm and a leg. And some of these kids escape. And they all come out and they have similar stories. And you're like, well, shit, maybe they're right. They fucking are right. Again, parents want to abdicate responsibility and the state wants to do the same. Oh, wow. Did you see how the state just rolled off my tongue there? That's weird. But, do they handle stuff better in Canada? No, not really. No, not at all. Here's an example. On the island that I live in, once upon a time, within my lifetime, they spent millions upon millions of dollars building a maximum security juvenile detention facility that could house maximum security children in a safe manner and was custom made as a detention facility. Within 10 years of building that custom juvenile detention facility, as a cost savings measure, they moved all juveniles off the island onto the mainland. So that sounds maybe cost saving in the short term, but when you think about the cost and amount of time that it takes to get off the island to the mainland, family support drops, community support drops, touch with reality drops. It's just such a short-sighted view when you've already got the building. Like, maybe when you were in charge, you could have vetoed this. This is what I always think is the government, sure, you could have, if you had won, because we have a democracy, if you had won, when this plan came up for approval, you could have said, nah, that ain't cool. We're not good with that. But they did. The other team won. They built the facility. They spent the millions. And instead of thinking about it long term, you just short term gonna close it down. Do you know what that is now? It's a homeless shelter. And all the children that get in trouble on this island have to be shipped to the mainland, and their family to go visit them, it would cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And they're like, wow, gang affiliation and like juvenile delinquency is really increasing. Well, fucking wonder why. Wonder why. Again, I'm not saying that I have the answers to all the questions, but I can tell you right now, government needs to back the fuck out of handling certain things. That's a problem. But private pay isn't going to work. And so the government, what they need to do is it boggles my mind. They could buy something and then fucking literally get rid of it within 10 years. Like, what? Like, can you even imagine in the United States, like, just being like, oh, that prison? No, we'll just use it as like a rec center. Say what? I don't know. I've worked in government at many levels. There's no effort to change. None whatsoever. And they actually really don't like it when I approach that subject. I'm like, well, why wouldn't we just do this, that, or the other? And they're like, well, that sounds really easy. I'm like, yeah, it does. And it would work. Why don't we just do it? And in most jobs that I have, I'll just be honest with you, I fucking do it. Because guess what? Most bosses aren't on hand enough to stop me from doing it. So I fix the problem, I do the solution, and then wait until they realize I've done it. And then all of a sudden they show up and they're like, whoa, what did you do here? I'm like, oh, yeah. I thought we talked about this. Are you sure this wasn't your idea? And they're like, no, I don't think it's my idea. I'm like, well, I think it was your idea. But I changed X, Y, and Z, and now A, B, C are much easier, and everyone's happier, and it runs smoother. You don't want me to go back to the old way. Why would we do that? But then they're on me. Watch. But at a fucking like corporation, the second I do something like that, they're like, oh, they promote me. Literally. That's literally what happens. They're like, you're promoted. You just saved us a lot of money. Here's a bonus. I'm like, yes, thank you. That's exactly right. Can I save you more money and make you more money? And they're like, yes, you can. Come on over. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love making money. I love making money for people. It's just so beautiful to me. I walk into situations and I'm like, this is so obvious to me how we can fix this problem.
How many FTAs?
27.
From 2007 until now?
Yes, that's correct.
What about the last 4 years? I mean, are they gonna look?
That's going to be up to your attorney and in King County and what the judge down there does. We can't predict what they're going to do for you.
Okay.
Obviously, the fact that you haven't had any criminal activity since March of 2022, which is our case, that's going to be something that your attorney down there will probably bring up with the court if you're asking to be released.
Okay.
So with that, I am going to release you as I've indicated. I'm asking the attorneys if they want to consider that. You want to talk to your attorney and have a good discussion about, because it's not just all, what is it, flowers and unicorns. There's some work you'll have to do on that. And so that's something to talk with them about.
Yes.
But at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you for pre-trial. Since I've released you, I'm going to set it out to June 8th. That'll be in person at the Bothell Municipal Court at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Can we possibly set it out further than that, just in case if I'm still dealing with my King County stuff?
If you're still in custody in King County, they'll know that when that date comes up.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll set it to that date. If it's a problem, if you're still in custody, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Your trial term will be the July trial term, and based on the totality of the circumstances, I guess, are you working right now?
I am looking for work right now, but I am partially, I'm looking for work right now and housing.
Understood. So what I was asking about was whether or not you would qualify for court-appointed counsel, given the totality of the circumstances and the potential of additional incarceration.
Wow, Loud Elvis, I just saw what you said. Thank you, KCC Fun Night. Thank you, second most dangerous chat. Maybe Mikey will make me a second most dangerous chat graphic. Thank you so much for being here. We've had a great night. We're still going for a bit. But thank you for being here. If you're going to Sleepy Town, have a great time. Make sure that you keep your arms and feet inside the train to Sleepy Town. It can run fast.
And I'm going to make a finding that you do qualify for court-appointed counsel and direct appoint counsel right now. Okay?
Okay.
So Mr. McMahon's office, I believe that you didn't see a conflict, did you, Mr. McMahon?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So we'll give you their contact information. You want to let them know what's going on and you want to have a conversation with them. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Black. Take care.
Are we gonna go back?
You're turning
Mr.
violet,
Douglas, thank
Violet.
you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so there are two cause numbers, 1A0473038 and 2A0213460. These matters are scheduled today for pretrial. Mr. Douglas was released and was told to be back here, or I guess I didn't really release you. I set bail and you posted, but you're here, which is what you needed to do. So I reduced the amount so you could, I think is what I read.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
So you're here and we appreciate that. What are we doing today, Mr. McMahon?
We're asking to set this back to pretrial normal course. I submitted a motion to continue. He has no objection to commencement being as of the next court date.
All right. So setting this to, and I'm just gonna make sure we're within time for trial. Looks like the last court date was May 1st. So I'll set this to,
That weird Matt guy, you know what? Listen, at 2 hours to wake up time, I'm sorry to say, honey, your day has already begun. Okay. And what you can think of now is you've actually got a jump start in the day. You're not going to go to sleep. Okay. Maybe you can get 15 minutes, but with 2 hours, you're never going to sleep well. So what that means is tomorrow's already begun for you. And that's okay. You're going to get a jump start on it. I've done it many fucking times. Still do it. It's just like I've literally played video games all night. I've stayed up on the internet all night. I've fucking listened to music all night. I've spent many all-nighters. And that morning minute comes when you look outside and you realize, oh my, that's new sun, and then there's birds chirping and you're like, fuck you, birds. What are you fucking so happy about in the morning? And they continue to chirp and you realize, doesn't matter what bed I'm in. I got shit to do soon. And so you just start. You just get up and you start. And guess what else? Most of those days, people are like, wow, you are so on it. And I'm like, yes, I fucking am. That's what I am. But here's the thing, that because you're 2 hours away from waking, it's not even appropriate to like lull you into sleep. But eventually I will make an ASMR sleep thing for people like Beverly who go to bed pretty accurately at the same time each evening. Good night, Beverly. I know you're probably gonna go play vids for a little while with your boyfriend, and then go to sleep. We love you. But I'll do like a quick, what should we call it? Like a nighter, like a nooner, but a nighter, where I'm getting people to sleep real quick, and then we'll do like a long one for people that take a little while. Again, I think it's a blessing and a curse. I have aphantasia, which means I don't have any imagery in my mind. So when I close my eyes, it's always black. That's why my eyes are open all the time and why I don't like sleep, because it's just black. And then I wake up and it's the next day. It's almost like a trick that I taught myself when I was really young. I was just like, if you just lie still, close your eyes, you like literally open your eyes and it's the next day. And it is. And that's a bit of a cheat code when you have a bit of a depression going on. I'll just say that. You can be like, I'm gonna close my eyes. Be like, well, it's noon. Is it appropriate to close your eyes and then wake up tomorrow? Yeah, I decided it is. I'm gonna do that. Good night, Beverly. Again, we don't sleep shame here. We don't wake shame. We don't sort of shame much here. But we do talk about things. And so like eventually I realized, oh, I'm sleeping instead of living in some cases, which isn't necessarily appropriate. I don't need as much sleep as I was getting. I was doing it to avoid things. So recognizing that in itself is a good thing to do. If you find yourself sleeping a lot, you might be catching up. But if it lasts a long time, it might be something that you need to look at a little bit closer. You might be good like me. Fucking, you know how much people hate it when they're like, they can't sleep for some reason. They might like have to take drugs to go to sleep or whatever. And I just like can fall asleep no matter what if I close my eyes. And then I wake and I'm pretty good to go with no matter how much sleep I've had. It's a blessing. It's a curse though, because you want to party with me? We'll party for days.
Is in person going to work for you, Mr. Douglas?
I apparently got a letter saying that today's court was supposed to be in person, so I went to the courthouse today.
So, Mr. Douglas, she's saying for your next hearing, is in person going to work for you? Are you able to come to the court for your next hearing?
Yes.
Okay. So June 8th, in person at 1:30. This time it really will be in person.
Okay, I'm ready.
In person on June 8th, and your trial will be in the July trial term. Okay.
Yuan, I'm sorry to interrupt. There were 2 live forms that were sent over.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
Mr. Douglas and Ms. Melberg have the live forms, and both of the dates are the 6/22 pretrial.
Oh, okay. Mr. Lur, thank you. I thought Mr. McMahon was indicating that there was not a continuance, so that's why I was confused.
So what is?
All right. So, Mr. Douglas, I apologize. I have a document before me with both of your cause numbers on it called a waiver of time for trial and order setting court dates. It looks like you gave Mr. McMahon permission to electronically sign this document on your behalf. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you understand that by this document, you're asking me to continue your court date today, and that to do that, you've indicated you are willing to waive your right to time for trial 90 days past that next court date to September 20th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Has anyone made any threats or promises to get you to waive your right to time for trial?
They have not.
All right. And Mr. Laura, you have no objection to this continuance?
That's correct, Your Honor, no objection.
All right. So based on that, I will accept the waiver of time for trial. I will grant your request for a continuance, and we will set this matter to June 22nd at 1:30, again, in person at the Bothell Municipal Court. Your trial date will be in the August trial term now, okay?
Okay.
So we'll see you on June 22nd. Sorry for my confusion.
June 22nd, is there a time?
Uh-oh. Well, we'll get that to him.
I told him 1:30 previously. Hopefully he recalls that. Otherwise, I can reach out to him.
I'm not sure what happened. He must have disconnected somehow. All right, looks like we have Ms. Malmberg here. And I do have a document for her as well. Ms. Malmberg, good morning. Oops, your microphone is muted.
Hi, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So this is cause number 3A0036861. Matter was scheduled today for pretrial. Good morning again. And Mr. McMahon.
This is a defense request for continuance. She's making an intelligent voluntary waiver of time for trial in order to facilitate. I think she wants to update her address with the court.
All right, not over YouTube, please. Ms. Malmberg, do you know how to use the chat function?
Oh.
If you go down to chat, you can chat either the administrator or the courtroom with that address, okay?
Okay.
And that way you don't have to, we're live streaming to YouTube, and I didn't think you wanted to give it out to everyone.
Okay.
And if you do it just to them, not to everyone, it won't even appear on the screen.
Okay. So to the administrators, I'm sorry, with that?
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Madam Administrator, I'm assuming that's fine with you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm kind of slow when it comes to this kind of stuff. I've only done a few Zoom meetings, so thank you.
No problem. All right.
Oh, that was loud. Sorry. No, don't start barking. I'm so sorry. And I got that right. I apologize, my dog.
It's all right. No problems at all.
I'll mute if you want me to mute, I can.
Well, let's go ahead and see if we can get through the form here. All right, go ahead and unmute again. All right, Ms. Malmberg, I have Mr. McMahon, you've indicated you want a continuance. Ms. Malmberg, I have a document before me with your cause number on it entitled A Waiver of Time for Trial and Order Setting Court Dates. Looks like you gave Mr. McMahon permission to electronically sign this document on your behalf. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you understand that by this document, you're asking me to continue your court date, and that to do that, you've indicated you're willing to waive your right to time for trial through September 20th of this year. Is that correct?
Correct.
Anybody make any threats or promises to get you to waive your right to time for trial?
No.
Mr. Lord, does the city have any objection to this continuance?
No, yeah, no objection. This is the first pretrial after she bailed out.
All right. So I will accept the waiver of time for trial. I will grant your request for a continuance. We'll set this matter as requested to June 22nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. That will be in person at the Bothell Municipal Court. Okay?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. And your trial will be in the August trial term. But again, next court date, June 22nd at 1:30.
Cleavage is a good one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We'll see you then. Take care.
Okay.
Write that down, Larry.
All right. And I have one more form. Is that for this afternoon?
No, I filled one out wrong, so I redid that one, but I believe Miss Black and Mr. Douglas were the only ones that appeared out of custody.
All right. So I will think that one. Oh. Let's go back.
I think
to the
Larry
calendar
works
then. It
yet.
looks like
That
Mr.
weird Matt guy, but I'm
Mr.
going to add it.
Nixon, David Nixon was scheduled for 9:30 this morning under cause number 2A0142265. And it's
That was on for disposition. We had previously filed a plea form. I don't have any information about why we didn't see Mr. Nixon today.
all right. Looks like he failed to appear on April 21st. He was not present. Ms. Pimentel requested that I note his failure to appear and set it over because she had had good contact with him. Sounds like that is no longer the case. Is that correct, Mr. McMahon?
I can't make any representations about what contact we do or do not have.
All right, but you don't have any explanation for his failure to appear today. Is that correct?
That's correct. I do not.
Mr. Lohr.
Yeah, the city is requesting a benchmark amount in the amount of $5,100.
$5,100 warrant is authorized. All right, I believe that concludes the morning calendar, so I'll see you all at 1:30.
Thank you.
It does. Mr. Jensen will be joining me this afternoon. There's a possibility that I might.
Also asked to be featured on Kitchen Court Chats, the YouTube channel, Your Honor, and I really would appreciate it if you would just grant a constant permission for her to cover our cases. Sounds like you approved that. Perfect. We'll just go with that. Okay, friends, listen, we have gone now 3 hours. It's been a lovely evening, and I had a great time. I really love you all. I thank for being here. I think, like I've said this before, this is such a deep niche channel for people. Like, there are court lovers and then there are like court lovers. Okay. People like me and you who cry over weird court hearings sometimes, like that's us. So I just appreciate y'all being my chosen little family. And I love each and every one of you. You know that. Let's talk about what what future holds. What does the future hold? The future holds September, okay? September is a new beginning, and I will be heading to Florida in September. I'm going to meet Mikey. Pretty excited. I'm really trying hard not to get a TPO taken against me, so I'm going to go ahead and just deal with that by not speaking him. My kid, as usual. Seriously, though, you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have court that you want me to watch, that you want to watch together, send it to me. We'll do it. We are planning a movie night coming up in the Discord. So please, if you have not yet joined Discord, join Discord because we are Search Spock. We're already testing it. We're going to go ahead and have a movie night. And shut the fuck up, YouTube daddy. You don't even need to concern yourself with this shit. Okay? Just shut up. Seriously. I don't care about him anymore. Anyways. T-Rex says, man, I'm gonna be pissed if I have to bail you out of jail first thing when we get to Florida. What day do you get to Florida? Let me double check that. Because, like, let's say I managed to not get in trouble in Texas, but that was only like 4 days. I have 4 days in Florida. I'm not gonna get arrested. Did you hear that? Oh my god. What a stupid way to get in front of a judge that I admire. Be like, hey! Anyways, guys, listen. I appreciate you all. I know that every single one of you that is still here already has already hit the like button. I don't even have to check. But in case you forgot, please double check. Make sure that all your channels are subbed. We're on our way to 500. We get our green names back. We get our fun emojis back. The internet's flaking on me. Yeah. Well, it's peak internet time now, Lisa. So I love you. Yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Remember, I'm proud of you. And I'll talk to you soon. Also, Larry Beaver to the office, please.